Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for something a little bit different. I'm going to be on Boardgamegeek.com, the best board game website on the planet. I'm going to be going over my top 300 board games of all time, at least according to my previous rankings. Now, I figured the best way to do this to start off was to go through some of the top board games and make sure I ranked some of these if I have not yet. So Gloomhaven, I've only played once, so I don't feel like I have a firm grasp on it. Jaws of the Lion, however, I am going to give an 8. That's where I rate something that's great. I'm slowly losing interest in this one, but I think when I play with my kids, it's going to be reinvigorated. Twilight Imperium 4th edition. This one goes to a 9 point... No, it's just a 10. We'll just put it at 10, flat 10. It's one of my top 3 games of all time. It is just absolutely beautiful, especially if you have the expansion. Now, I will say you need to have the expansion on this one. It adds more races. It makes it go up to 8 players. It's spectacular. Let's see. Through the Ages is a new story of civilization. This one I've only played, I believe, once in real life and then a whole bunch of times on the app. I know it's really, really good. I'd say it's probably great, but I don't remember enough about it to put it right here, so we're just going to skip by it. So right now I'm just looking for the ones to see if I've played it. I have played Brass up there. Yeah, I did play Brass Birmingham, and that was a great game. Throw it an 8. I don't feel comfortable enough putting it higher because I can't remember and tell you why it was great. I just remember it being great. Jimmy brought it to game night. So, Spirit Island, that's on my list to play, definitely. Wingspan, I know, it's a shame I haven't played it. Feast for Odin, 9. Bauer's Best Seal on that one. That is a spectacular Stefan Feld game. I love it, and I haven't even played the expansions. That one is probably going to be one of my favorite games of all time when all is said and done. Viticulture Essential Edition, I'm just going to have Viticulture. I'm not going to mess with the Essential Edition because I haven't played it. I just have Viticulture with the Tuscany expansion. Root. So, yeah, we get to Root. 7.8. It didn't do it for me. I really wanted to love it, like the same way I love Vast, which was the... let's see if I can get in a little bit closer there, too. Everdale. So the first time I played this, I did not enjoy it. Now, I think it is great. A little bit more than great, and honestly, with the expansion, that one is going to get even higher. I don't know if I'd ever give it a Bauer's Best Seal. It would have to have a lot of expansions, and I have to play it. Dune Imperium, I know, haven't played it. Foonshade Magnam, once again, we're going to put an 8 as a placeholder. That was a great game. Blood Rage, this one, ooh, 7.7. I think it's a very good game. I do. I don't think it's great, and the more I play it, every single time I play it, I like it a little bit less. Maracaibo, Pandemic Legacy Season 2, Clank. Ooh, Clank. Wait, this Clank Legacy. So this is like the... So that's not the original Clank. The Crew, Quest for Planet 9, yes, 9.5. One of the best games I've ever played in my life. Too Many Bones, 7th Continent. Great game. Great. 8.4. Love that game. No, we'll go 8.5. You deserve to be considered very great. It is such a cool exploration game. Kingdom Death Monster. Played it, but haven't played it enough. Barrage. Lost Ruins of Arnak. Ooh, yeah, that one. This is a tough one for me because I think it does everything it does very, very good, but I don't think it does anything great. Like, every time I play, I'm like, dang, that's a really good game. I think maybe with an expansion, bump it up there. So, if I don't think it's great, I go 7.9. Still, no problem with that. Star Wars Imperial Assault, Clash, Le Havre on Mars, Azul. Azul is one of... I think I played Azul maybe once or twice, and it's so similar to a lot of those other games. I think it's the one replacing the dice in certain spots. I don't remember. Like, Abstract Strategy is just one that I have a hard time falling in love with, because even if it is a great game, like, the theme just doesn't hold it together for me. Through the Stories, The Gallerist, Eclipse, Quacks to Quedlinburg. Yeah, that's on my list to play. I think I'm going to love that game. So go for a couple hundred. Clank, a deck building adventure. Great game. 8.4. 8.4. I don't think I'd put it quite above Robinson Crusoe. Yeah, that sounds about right. 7 Wonders, 5 Tries, Dominant Species, Keyflower, Tainted Grail. I've heard that one's spectacular as well. Haven't got a chance to play it, though. Scrolling through. Nothing here. Trajan. Yep, so we're good. We'll do a couple hundred more. Just go through them real quick. Add them in there. And really, we were going to do it. If we were going to do it this right, I think we'd go through the top 1,000. I don't know if I have time to do that, but actually, you know what? We're going through these. Oh, Pandemic Liberia. I've only played that once, and that is great. But I don't feel like I have a firm enough grasp on it to put it on there. Parks, yeah, I know, 7.2. It wasn't for me. Vinhos. I reviewed it. I don't remember what I said about it, so that one does not. Oof. Yeah, we're gonna go with a 7 there. I might have said it was great, but it's forgettable to me. And at the end of the day, I got rid of Vinhos and I kept viticulture. So when it comes to winemaking, I'm a viticulture kind of guy. Cartographers, great roll and write. Flat 8. No questions about it. And that's why I honestly like to really put my rankings as soon as I get done playing them. You know, because you can always come back and you'd be like, oh, that game hasn't sat with me as well, and then lower the grade. But if you don't remember what you initially gave it, it's just hard to do. Like Endeavor, Age of Sail, I remember really liking this game. I don't remember if I really thought it was good or very thought it was great, but I think 7.5. Tricerian, Legends of Illusion. That game dragged on forever. I like what it was trying to do, though. We'll go 6.6. Descent, Journey in the Dark. I've only played 2, and it was so long ago I can't remember. Welcome 2. I love Welcome 2. This is one that's an 8.5 for now, but honestly, if I had a review copy of it, if I played it, if I owned it, I think it'd be up to 9. I think it'd get played a lot more, plus there's tons of expansion. It's one of my favorite roll and write games I've ever tried. It's a Wonderful World. So this one is a much beloved game. I played the Lucky Duck games. I didn't play the European version. I played the American version. And the American version, they stripped so much stuff away. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. I think 7.3 is pretty good. I think with expansions, that one's definitely over an 8. Easy, though. Dead of Winter, Cthulhu May Die. And I'm not going to go fix any of these, even if I see some that I think are discrepancies. I'll do that when we get to the top 300, I think. Dinosaur Island. They have like 4 of these. I think this is the one that I really like. This is the first one. 8.5. 8.5. That's a great game. Or Labora, Commands, Sekihara, Suburbia, Near and Far. Played that one, but don't really remember it that much. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to scroll through here kind of fast. Codenames Duet, you're so good. I wish I was playing you right now. Teach-You. I played this a couple times, a lot on my phone. I don't remember enough about it. Remember, it's a fun trick-taking game, though. I definitely recommend you check that one out. I remember it was one of those games where it's like, I'm glad I played this. Cyclades, same thing. Same thing as Tishu, but I don't remember anything about it. Sushi Go Party, not Sushi Go. Sushi Go Party. We'll do the top 500, I think. I think that's fair. Then the rest will be on me if I didn't rank them. Century Golem Edition. So this is the same as Century Spice Road. The Golem Edition doesn't do a damn thing for me, but I think Century Spice Road still is a. Ooh, I'm leaning great, but honestly, if I was gonna grab a game that was lightweight, I would go with Ganymede first. I would go with Splendor first. So I'm gonna bump it down to a 7.8. 7.8. I think that's fair. Steam Shogun 1830. Undaunted Normandy. That one looks really cool. Hero Realms. I haven't played enough of that one. Lewis and Clark. I own this one. I enjoy this one. Yes, that's a 7.7. I think it's a very good game. Dominion 2nd Edition. Get out of here. Never. Pulsar 2849. That one was a good game. That was one that I think some people might think was great, and maybe when I first played it was great, but the theme is so disconnected from everything. I think it's a very good. I think that's where I'd rank that. Seasons. Adam has that one. I really liked it, but I don't remember anything about it, except there's tons and tons of cards. Dixit. If I could like one game that everybody else likes, and I wish I could change it, it would be Dixit. So, Dixit, it's more on me because my brain just works weird. So I still have fun playing it, even though I'm just absolutely god-awful. So we'll go with 7. I think it's good. Excuse me. For your Dracula, very good game. I don't remember playing it, though. I played it, I think, once or twice. Long time ago. All right, Western Legends, that's on my list. I really want to play that one. Dwellings, also on my list. Class, Nemo's War. Hopefully they're sending me a copy of that one. I really want to play that one solo, Above and Below. Same thing. None of the Ryan Lochte games have really just been like, damn, blown me away. But they've all been like, yeah, that's good. That's good. Scrolling. Merchants of Paratus. I don't remember if this is the pirate one I'm thinking of that I really, really like, so I can't do it. Dixit, 4.4. Oh, Jesus, Forrest. You have grown as a person from December 2016, so 5 years ago. I freaking hated Dixit. But now, cooler. You know what? I shouldn't say it. I should not say that because the bottom line is I need to go back and play Dixit and find where it resides between 4.4 and 7 for me. Because in hindsight, maybe I can see that it's a good game, but it pissed me off, apparently. Christmas, December 6, 2016. Actually, I think that was a Christmas present I got from my aunt. Maybe that's why I was so salty. I was so excited to like it. I'd heard good things about it. She picked me up for it. I played it. Yeah, I think I played it at my buddy's Jason house. Okay. Sleeping Gods. Heard great things about that. We'll do 200 more. Here we go. Altiplano. I also heard great things about that. Notre Dame, Arkham Horror 3rd edition. Is this the new edition? I don't remember if this is the new edition or the old edition. Either way, it's not cracking my top 300, I don't think, so we don't need to worry about it. For Sale, however, I do think is a great game. I'm going to go with the 8.1. Just excellent, excellent game. Google, no, because I guess excellent would be a 9. So great, great game. Gizmos. Oof, might have to fix that one a little bit because I'd rather play a For Sale. Lost Cities, Forgotten Water, Obsession. I got this one. I need to play this one. I've heard it's so good. My City. Brandon has that one. I want to try that one. San Juan 2nd edition. Codenames Pictures. Yeah. I did not like this as much as I like Codenames. It's still a fun game, but it was harder to give clues, I thought. So we'll go with a 7.8 on that one. Camel Up 2nd edition. Have not played, but I saw it. Saw it in person. Dice Forge. This is a fun one. I like Dice Forge a lot. I'm going to give this one a 7.8 for now, but honestly, that one would be higher if I owned it, or if I still knew the person that owned it. I think my buddy Ronnie owned that one. Let's see. Fresco. That's a very fun game. I shouldn't say great. I shouldn't say great so flippantly, because great to me is 8. Flashpoint Fire Rescue. Very good game. Not a great game. Downforce. Great. Great. I know a lot of people love Downforce way more than me. All right. A lot of these I haven't played. Most of these I haven't played, because honestly, I'd stop and tell you if I had. That's how this works. Ooh, Skull. You need to be higher. The more I've played Skull, the more I enjoy Skull. It can lead to some games where it doesn't, like end game situations where it just feels kind of clunky, depending on what the situations are, but it's still a blast. Mansions of Madness with the new updated edition. You get an 8.2. I love you. Pitch Cart, that's on my list to play. I've always wanted to play that one. Shot and Totten, I don't remember enough about it. All right. Last one's here. Wavelength. Yes, you go higher. You get a Bauer's Best Seal. Alan owns that one. I've played that one, I think, 3 or 4 times, and every time I've just been like, damn, that is how you do a party game. It's so good. And I don't even think it's a party game, if I recall correctly. Here we go. Friday, not getting enough love. That one I need to update. December 2016 me was stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. The Grizzled? What? I feel like that one... Okay, we'll see. We'll see. All right, top 500, I do believe, are 455. Vinhos. Did we already do Vinhos? I don't know. Continuing. I don't remember enough about it. I'm only right now looking for the ones that don't have the greens, and I think we are... Ooh, Paperback. Great game. Keyforge. Baseball Highlights. This one's sitting on my shelf. I really need to get that one played. And there we go. So, went through the top 500 of Board Game Geek. We're going to refresh this. We're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and it's going to show my top 300 games of all time. Let's go. Bro. Eminent Domain Microcosm. Sitting at an 8.3. That's really... I must have been really hot on this one at that point. So this is one of my favorite micro games of all time. 15 minutes from Tasty Minstrel Game. They tried to take Eminent Domain, which is a really rock-solid deck-building game, and do that. Swords and Bagpipes. Interesting. So 8.3, that seems a bit hefty, but here's the thing. I haven't played it in so long, so I don't feel comfortable organizing that. Swords and Bagpipe. I did a Kickstarter on this one. Yeah, this one was a really good game. No, apparently I said it was a great game. But if it was a great game, why didn't I keep it? I don't know about that one. We're going to go down a little bit on that one. 7.9. Star Realms Crisis and Battleships is expansion. 12 Realms, 8.3. I was really high on this, and wow, that is 6 years ago, and I can tell, because I don't remember anything great about 12 Realms now that I really go back in hindsight. This is going to be an interesting little journey. So yeah, I don't feel comfortable having that. Having my name attached to that is great, because the bottom line is I got rid of it, and I don't think. Oh no, what? No, you stay, Star Realms. You're great. You're always great. But I'm gonna bump this one down to a 7.9. I don't feel comfortable calling you great. So Birds of a Feather. Wow, we got some really obscure ones here. This one is from Nothing Sacred Games, who made the absolutely spectacular Corporate America, which I know we're going to see higher on the list. But I don't remember anything about this. I remember there was a bunch of birds, and I remember it came with pencils. Yeah, I don't want to go through and change everything. We're just gonna go through this, and this is going to be more of an eye-opening thing. Cubist. This one, I remember you're going to be stacking a bunch of dice and making them look different ways based on art. I did like that one, actually. I want to go back and play that one. I hope I still own it. Blurble. This is one of the best, honestly. So this one is going to go a little bit higher. Great. I'm going to put this one up to an 8.6. This is one of the best educational games that you can find. I used it with my first son. I recently just used it with my 5-year-old, and we just talked about what the different letters, the different things start like. It's really quick, easy to play, easy to learn, easy to teach. Goes very well as both a party game and as a family educational style game. It is a ton of fun to play. Check out Blurble. Viva Java, the coffee game, the dice game. I remember this one. I like this one an awful lot. Coconuts, yes, still own that one. Still a whole heck of a lot of fun. You just flip coconuts and you try and get them into here, and there's like some different special abilities people do to you, and it's a fantastic family game. No, it's a great family game. Fantastic, I think, should be saved for 9 or higher. Stop using so many superlatives. All right, Chroma Cubes. Oh, no, this one didn't ever get made. Yeah, this was from 5th Street Games, and I remember they had a lot of issues where they were essentially, at least this is what I heard. I don't know if it's 100% sure, but I think so. 1,400 views. Go you. This was one where you had to color. Yeah, it was a coloring game. We rolled dice and color, and it was just so relaxing and so great. And dang it, I wish that one would have got made. All right, Quantum. I think this is the one where you ended up going backwards on the space map. Yeah, this one was really solid too. Very minimal components. There was a big board in the middle. And then, oh no, this was is this a different one? Oh yeah, I remember this one. This is area control, I believe, where you have special abilities. And yeah, this is a really great game. Though it's not, because it's an 8.5. It's a great game. I haven't played it enough to say really great. Clash, Dawn of Steam. This does not belong here. You do not belong here, sir. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I don't think this game ever got made. Review, 128. I was 128 to reviews at that point, 7 years ago. Okay. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable having this one be at an 8.3, to be honest. Just because 7.9, I don't like. Apparently, my emotions and I played it 5 times. My emotions for this were running hot, but it didn't get made. So I think that's got to ding you, right? Space Cadets Dice Duel, excellent little game. No, it's not. It's a great little game. Stones of Fate from Nathan Cornelius, I do believe. Oh no, from Nathan Cosmic Wombat. It's a Luke Laurie game. What? Yeah, that's a solid little game. Luke Laurie. Holy crap, didn't know that. Dwellings of Eldervale. But Nathan is part of Cosmic Wombat Games. Thought it was his game. He showed me that game. Space Hulk, Death Angel, the card game. This is one of the most underrated solo games of all time. It is just, it's a tight little box from Fantasy Flight Games. This one needs to get a reprint, and it's so well done. And I remember the expansions were super weird, like, because you could, like, print them off or something like that. I don't remember. It had weird expansions. Still a great game. Not excellent, but great. Cash and Guns, one of my favorite of all time. This is the 2005 edition. I have the newer edition. So, Cash and Guns Live. Oh, that's the expansion. I was going to update it. No worries. Cash and Guns, by the way, if you've never played it, really fun. Essentially, at least the new edition, you point guns at people, and then there's like a drafting thing. If you survive, and you have to decide whether or not you want to get shot. There's tons of videos on it. But don't let that one slip under your radar. If you're newer into the hobby, Cash and Guns, the second edition I'd recommend at least, probably finding, because it's probably going to be a little bit cheaper, because the first one's out of print, is just a really awesome larger group game. Like 6, 7, 8 players, I believe it goes up to. All right. Survive, Escape from Atlantis. Yes, an all-time classic. Make sure you get both of the micro expansions with the dolphins and the whatevers. Zombie 2 double feature, or Zombie Dice 2 double feature, which is one of the best expansions, I think, for any game ever, or at least one that I've played the most. And I know you're saying, are you kidding me? It's 3 dice. Yeah, but this Santa Claus, it just adds so much to an already spectacular game. And Zombie Dice is one of my favorite games of all time. I've probably played that game 500 times. No exaggeration. In my classroom. Kids go crazy for it. Adding the Santa Claus it was brilliant. And then when they got to Zombie Dice 3, they added like this big chunky dice. I think it's like a 20-sided die. They jumped the shark. It was too much. At that point, it wouldn't fit into the original container very well. And then you kind of had to go back to the rules to see what the different things on the die were. And just stick with Zombie Dice 2. And just Zombie Dice 3 is more of a novelty, unless you really are a completionist, at least in my opinion. Clank, deck building adventure. It's such a fun deck building game. And that's one of my favorite genres, so I definitely am biased. But you're essentially going down into a mine, and you have to go deeper and deeper. And it's a press your luck aspect, because the deeper you go, the more juicy, good stuff you get. And at some certain point, you're going to have to come back to the surface. Really fun deck building game. 8.3 good enough? Is 8.3 good enough? 8.4? Do I think it's a very great game? I do. I think it's a very great game. Let's bump it up to very great. Fiera Bend. So yeah, this one just came out 2020. This is the one from Friedman Freese, a.k.a. Powergrid. This is a really interesting game about workers going to different places. It was a worker So it's a worker relaxation game, I believe is what he called it. So essentially you're trying to, your workers work all day and they work all week, and then on the weekends they're trying to have a fun time. So you might take your workers to like try and take them to the park, or you might try and take them to a date or go to the bar. And it's such a well-designed game. It makes you think different. Yeah, I would say it's a very good, or a great game. I'd say it's a great game, almost a very great game. So yeah, 8.4 seems right. Dragon's Tales, this one's from, don't tell me, I'm not looking, my eyes are closed. It's from Arcane Wonders, yes. This is a really good game. Is it great? Yes, I think it is great. I don't remember as much as I'd like to about it, so we're dipping you from an 8.4 down to an 8, because I have you, I see you actually right there on my shelf, but you don't get played. And the longer you don't get played, that just tells me that there's a reason I'm not getting it played. Finger Guns at High Noons, this one's so fun. This is a really stupid, simple, fun game from, I believe, Stronghold Games, or whoever they bought out. Yeah, Indie Board and Cards. Same difference. We're up to 8 players, and you're going to be doing all sorts of crazy stuff with your fingers, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, this is a really enjoyable game. I wish that one would have got more popular. I think it's in the right spot. Definitely my top 300, I do believe. All right, Finger Guns at High Noon. You're so good, you're ranked twice. Does it deserve to take 2 places in my top 300? No, but we'll let it slide. Don't know why that is. Blockbuster. Why is it going? So why does Blockbuster as well? Blockbuster. Oh yeah, this is the party game from Big Potato Games. Yes. This one was fun. I don't remember anything about it. Remember it was fun. I remember it was a pretty big hit for them as well. This one was like a mass market hit. I know my video, I think, did pretty well. Came in a cassette tape. It was fun. It was very fun. But, unfortunately, forgettable. So we're going down with an 8. For both of you. I still think you're great. Big Potato Games routinely makes games that I really enjoy. Mind Trap. This is one of the mass market games. You always see it like a thrift shop or not. And pretty much it's just a bunch of questions. Like, Captain Frank and Professor Juan played chess. They played 7 games each and won the same number of games, and there weren't any draws or stalemates. How could this have happened? And then so you just have to try and talk and figure it out. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if it's necessarily really a game, but it's still a great time. So damn it, you stay here, Mind Trap. Cursed Court, also a great game. I wish, I'm missing one component. When they sent it to me, there was one piece missing, and that would only make it... the only way that you'd notice if you were playing a full 6-player game. But this is one of my go-to 6-player games. That being said, with COVID, haven't had a 6-player game in a very long time, but still deserves to be up here. It's an area control game. It's got really nice little components where you're going to be stacking these things on top of each other. And it's got like a tic-tac-toe. It's actually a tic-tac-toe style game, actually. An area control tic-tac-toe style game. It's really great, which is why... so it's not really great because it's an 8.4, but it is dang close to being really great. Untold Adventures awaits 8.4. You stay here. This is one of the most unique, different, interesting games you will ever play in your life, where essentially you are going to be creating like a TV show, and you roll these Rory Story Cubes and do all sorts of other shenanigans. I don't remember enough about this game. This is one that I want to get back to the table, though. It is so delightful. And it's what I always say. I love when someone takes a really simple mechanism and then attaches like a bigger game around it. And so somebody took Rory Story Cubes and made it something bigger. Game election, yes, it's not for the memes. This is a small tuck box game, and this is all about, so if you got a big game night, or if you got, 3, 4, 5 people, whatever, this is, you put a bunch of games on the table, and everybody gets cards, and then you vote for which cards you have, and it's a fun little time. Highly recommend this one if you see it. And you had a game night, where sometimes you're kind of indecisive, because honestly, I have a lot of fun playing the game election game. Baobab. What the hell is this? Baobab. What's Baobab? Oh, yeah. Such a weird name. I don't know why they changed it, or why they didn't change it. I wonder if that's the name of the bird or something. This is another one of those stacking games. So the first one that I saw was Garbage Day from Tasty Minstrel Games, and then it looks like Blue Orange kind of just ripped that off and did this, but I think they did it better because now it has like different animals on it, and I don't remember what it is, but I still have it over there because I know it's a great family game, but not being in my classroom, games like that don't get played as much. Flick Wars, really cool game. You got this big mat, you set up this terrain, and you have to go all around the terrain, and what's really cool about this is all these different units have different special abilities. It's a really freaking cool flicking game. But the other thing is you can set up rocks, and you can put things both above that and below it as well. And when you place it below, so if you place that rock below it, it can kind of make like a little ramp. And it's a really cool game. I have that game. I need to get that played again. Hop! Oh my gosh, I have this one. It's a massively large, overproduced game that's still a whole heck of a lot of fun, where essentially you're going to throw this little rainbow right here, and you're going to be throwing it on top of this doodad, trying to get it on there, if I recall correctly. No, you throw the rainbow to other people, and then you have to throw it to other people in like different ways, and it's a really cool game. It is a really cool family game. So 8.4, you stay up here because you're so different and unique. And I own you. Memory Palace. Oh my gosh. Peaceful Kingdom. This is one of my favorite children's games of all time. Not by their rules, though. Yeah, one review. What? There's nothing. This is a shame. Damn it. Go get this. If you have kids, this is such a great game. Watch that review. See how I do a special house rule thing. This, honestly, is one of the games that has went over the best with kids in my classroom and with my own kids personally, especially if you have kids that just don't like to talk. This game kind of pulls it out of them in a natural and fun way, and I cannot recommend the Memory Palace better as much. And you know what? What is it? 8.4? Damn that. No way. Now, because I'm the only person who reviewed it and the only person talking about it, that makes me feel like I need to pound my chest a little bit harder. So you know what? You go above all these other games. You are, in fact, a very great game as of September 2021, Memory Palace, and I love you. Cardline Animals, also, oh my gosh, this is, you know what? I've had so much great experience with my classroom. I'm going very great on this one as well. So Cardline Animals is so cool. If you remember Timeline, where you'd have to put things in order based on the time, Cardline Animals takes that idea and then adds 3 things because it shows you, what is it? Their weight, how long they live, and then something else. And so you can play the game in different ways based on that. And my kid, every kid that I've had that, because kids love animals, just period. Kids love animals. Everybody loves animals. I mean, going to the zoo is fun. And this one, it's so good. So good. Yokohama. One of my favorite abstract strategy games of all time. Honestly, nope, that's a different game. That's Yokohama. I still have that one. This one is from Tasty Minstrel Games and Sashi Hayashi, who they actually released quite a few games from him. I don't think any of them are nearly as popular as this one. But when this game came out, there was so much buzz around it. And it's a great little game where you're going to be moving your pieces around this big Chinese city, I think it is, of Yokohama, and collecting things, and it's really so good. Go play it. Plus, it has a Rodney Smith Watch It Play video, so you can learn it in 20 minutes without having to read the rules, which delightful. Battle Goats, one of my favorite small box games of all time. I never actually got the expansion, which is a bummer, but essentially, this is a 9x9 grid game, or 3x3, where you're going to have a 3x3 grid of these goats, and you're going to be attacking other people's 3x3 grids. And the unique thing about this game is every single goat in the game has its own little unique quirk, which is just, it's great. I love a game when I play it, and every single card is different, and that does it. Space Planets, is this the Haba one? Yes, this is a really cool Haba game where it's kind of like a dice throwing game. You're trying to throw dice, if I recall correctly, onto these. And depending on how far away they are, you have to take care of gas and you get gems. And honestly, I don't remember, but I remember it was a great family game that went over very, very, very well in my classroom. So, the others. Is this the Simon one? This is the Simon one. I remember really enjoying this game. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I wish I had a group of people to really play through all this stuff. But 8.4 seems a bit high. I speak very, very fondly of like the first games before this, which means we need to ding this down to an 8.2. Let's put you down there where you belong. Ars Alchemia. I have a feeling this one's going to get bumped down because I don't know what the hell this game is. This is, oh, yeah, this is another one from Tasty Minstrel Games. This is when they used to release like 50, 60 games a year. That might be hyperbole, and it might not. I don't even know. But they put out so many weird, small, tiny box games. And this is a tiny box game, but this is a really good game. Is it great? Is it 8.4 great, though? Do I still feel that way about it? I don't think I do. I don't think I do. We're going to go down to an 8. I will be nice, and I will give that an 8. I think it's still on my shelf. Maybe. But yeah, I don't remember enough about that game to have it in the 8.4. Silly Shenanigans. I love the name of you game. Oh yeah, this one's great. There's a big hole in the middle. Yeah, this is such a good one. This is a game that has went over so well with classrooms. If you have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, this is an absolutely delightful game. Highly recommend. I believe it's got memory aspects of it. It's great. Kaboom! Really? Is this mass market one with all the weird components in it? No. This is the... Oh, this is such a cool little game. Yeah, this has the catapult, where you're trying to build something, and then somebody else is trying to... That's the catapult right there, you can see. So you just bing, and you're trying to knock it over. And that was... I wish there were more catapult games. But for being unique, being different, 8.4 will stick with it. Voila! Once again, we're on the unique games. This one is one where you have to stack these pieces. And I remember it was a really fast-paced stacking game. I remember playing it with a couple kids who were just like, I don't like this. This is way too stressful. And I love games like that. Voila! One of the I don't think it sold very well because I know it was from Brain Games who did the penguin flicking game, and it did, which is probably going to make an appearance on here. But I have never heard anything else outside of about it. Scrawl, awesome, great. This is pretty much Pictionary After Dark. In fact, it is Pictionary After Dark. Sketchy Stories, aka Scrawl. They changed the name of it. It's still absolutely delightful, and I would recommend it. Charming, yeah. So it's the same basic premise. You stud muffins, so they draw this, and then you put Charming Muscly Cupcake Man, and then do this, and Topless Waiter, and you get it. That's the whole game. Maybe there's a Scroll After Dark. I don't remember. It's still a fun game, and pretty much every game in that ilk is fun just because it's just a fun idea. Bloodborne, the card game. This one, I wish would have got a little bit more buzz as well. I think it did get one expansion, maybe. This is one where you go in and you fight monsters, and I think only the last person gets like the points. But it had cool cards, cool items. It was one of those ones that I really wish would have gotten an expansion, but I don't feel that strongly about it. Like, I feel like I need to, because 8.4, like everything from this point forward, I think I can agree that if I don't have strong feelings about it, it needs to get dumped down a little bit. Because we're talking about the creme de la creme, the best games of all time. And if I can't even remember why you're the best game of all time, well then, sir or madam, you don't belong to be here. Rick and Morty's Dr. Meeseek's box of fun dice and dares games from Cryptozoic. I remember it has a cool little thing on it. And honestly, this was a very fun game. I did a review on it. It's one of my most popular reviews of all time. So I'll leave it up here because it has a little extra oomph just because of that. Flag Dash. Oh my gosh. This might be my best 2v2 game of all time. This is a capture the flag style game where every single character has his own unique special abilities, his own unique quirks. And if you play it 2v2, it is just insane tension in the game. And yes, I remember this one. Love it. Battle Merchants. Is this the game I'm thinking of? No, this one. Yeah, this one. This is the one where you're selling things to trolls or something like that, and it was very, very good. Is it great? Is it 8.4 great? No, it's not 8.4 great. I'm sure if I go back to the review, I might have said it's 8.4 great. But hindsight, 5 years later, Battle Merchants, yeah, I'm sure I would still love to play it again, but I'm going to go with an 8 because honestly, I don't remember it. That's a big ding, but here's the thing. I got rid of the game, I think. Yeah, Butterfly Guard. Yeah, you're definitely going down. Yeah, so this is Dr. Finn's games, and honestly, themes like this, these very generic, garden-y themes, they just don't do it for me. Oh, I remember liking this game, though, and I remember it being so simple and so streamlined, but it never got played ever again after the review, which means 8.2. And honestly, that's what I'm seeing a lot of here, is just stuff that doesn't get played after the review. And if you're not getting played after the review, you know, that says a lot to me. Granted, these are all still very, very good games. Everything that I've dinged down a little bit, I would still recommend to most people if you haven't played it. Dead Man's Straw. This is an absolutely delightful press your luck game. Yes, press your luck game where you're trying to get, yep, and then all these different things have different special abilities, and it is such a dang good game. Mars 10-Minute Takedown. This is a dice flicking game from Steve Jackson Games that I really wish would have got a little bit more buzz. It's a lot of fun. Super simple. You're flicking dice. You're trying to land on different spots. It comes in a really crappy cardboard box. But still, great little game. Highly recommend Mars Attacks 10-Minute Takedown. Plus, it's probably going to be dirt cheap if it's still even in print. New York 1901. This was the big Gen Con release for Blue Orange Games a couple of years back. And I think it did pretty good. I remember they had the artist there signing it, and I still have fond memories about this game. You actually build your own city, and you have these little tiles you put out there, and I don't remember much else about the game, even though I think I still might own it. So, has this one, I think it's gotten played once since I reviewed it. I think that's because I got a micro expansion, but 8.2, we got to ding you down a little bit. When I do this list in 10 years, I'll probably get dinged down again, because I don't think I'm probably going to get it played again. 101, because it doesn't reach out to me like this one right here. I remember this is an abstract. Yeah, this is one where there were zeros and there were ones, a little card game. And I was apparently very hot on this one, but I don't remember anything about it, and I can't do that. I can't say you're an 8.4 game if I can barely even remember. Now, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt 101 and say, yeah, you're still a great game, but that close to very great? No. I want to play that one again. NFL Armchair Quarterback. I actually just got this one out a couple days ago. This is an absolutely spectacular, delightful little game where essentially you're just going to be betting on what's going to happen in a football game. So you predict what plays are going to happen next. You got these little things right here, and this is where so it's like one of those ones where you so every time you write down your answer, but then you can just pick it up, and then it's so good. I wish the NFL would reprint this game. I think, especially nowadays with how much people love to gamble. Yeah, you know what? I wonder. Say no more. I would love to reprint that game, just without the NFL license. You don't need the NFL license on it. Reach out to them, say, I don't know. I don't need to be reprinting games. Firefly the game, you're still up here. You're still great. I love you. Especially if you have 2-3 hours to play. It's a massive, massive, massive game, or it can be. And I feel like it fits the Firefly theme very, very well. And look, I even won it in a trade. Yashima, Legends of the Kami Master. I believe this one was from the people who did Zpocalypse. It was the other zombie game that didn't catch on as big. Zombicide, one of the two. Greenbrier Games, yeah, this one was from Tony. Yeah, Tony, who now currently works at CGE, I believe, so he landed on his feet. And yeah, this is a good game. I don't remember much of anything about it, so I think that 8.4 needs to go down to an 8. I think that's just fair, right? Modern art, great. This is one of my favorite bidding games of all time. Get the CMON version. I think it's out of print right now, unfortunately. But it's just 45 minutes. That's about right. And what's so good about this game is there's different ways to auction throughout the game. And so you're just always interested in how you're going to be bidding. And in fact, Modern Art, the card game, also a great little card game that I highly recommend. I don't know if they still manufacture it, but they should. It's damn good. Formula D, one of the best racing games of all time. I don't think I need to talk much about that, but I'd still put it as a great game. I haven't played it in many years. Wow, 8 years, but actually I've played it since then. It's still a great game. 10 Days in Europe. Ooh, I think I played this one at Gen Con the first time. Yeah, this is the one where you have to try and plan a trip across Europe, if I recall correctly. And it is, yeah, I'm still going to put it in the great because I'm going to lump together 10 Days in America, 10 Days in Europe, because I've used 10 Days in America as a teaching tool before to help learn states, if I'm recalling correctly. And so we're going to keep it up here at the very great game. Anytime that I can recommend it as an educational game, I think that just gives it a little bit extra special. Twilight Struggle, one of the best two-player games of all time. Next, Dinosaur Island. Is this the, yeah, this is the one we just added on here when we went to the top 300. I'm glad it's in there. Yeah, I still agree with myself, 25 minutes ago. It's still great. Very great. Welcome to, same thing, Ganymede, very great. Yeah, so Ganymede. This one I want to spotlight. If you like Splendor, I recommend trying this one out. It doesn't play like Splendor, but it gives you Splendor feels. But it has so many more plates juggling in the air. Splendor, I would say, is like a 1. Well, for example, if Splendor is a 1 complexity, Ganymede is a 2. That's a terrible example. Try Ganymede. It's great. It's very great. 8.5. Seventh Continent, yes, we already talked about Storytime Chess, which is the best way, in my opinion, to learn chess. So you get this book, and then you read this book, and the book tells you this little story about each one of the different characters. And each one of the different characters in the story tells you why they move a certain way. So why does the king only move one space? And so they tell you this, and it just clicks for kids. And I think it is a great way to learn chess. Highly recommend it. Team Green. There's also Team 3 Pink. This one's from Brain Games. This is a spectacular game. It's a great game from Matt Fantastic. Where so there's going to be, yeah, so here we go. So there's going to be a card that you have. Did anybody take a picture of any of the cards? No, of course they didn't take a picture of any cards. Dang it. So everybody's got it. One person's going to have a card. And then what they're going to do is they are going to be trying to get somebody else who can't see that card to build something. And then that other person is going to be trying to get somebody else to do so. So one person can't see. One person can't eat or something. It's great. Just play it. Just play the damn thing. I think it'd be an amazing tournament game as well. I hope when conventions really get back into full swing, we see a Team 3 tournament. And if there's ever a Bauer game CornerCon, I'm totally going to do that. Screaming Eagles. Yeah, this is one that I really wish Restoration Games would pick up. Because, yeah, 1987, this is an old school Parker Brothers game. But it is so much dang fun. We're going to be going through the skies. Great components, great gameplay. I don't remember why I loved it, but I still did. And so but very great. Is it very great? We'll leave it up here for now. No, we're not. We're gonna. If I can't, no, we'll leave it up there. We'll leave it up there. I remember having some great sessions in my classroom with that game. Dragon's Interest. I believe this one is from Tasty Mitchell Games. I don't think it ever did come out. I did a Kickstarter on it. It was a really fun, I think, bidding game, I want to say. But if I can't remember, that means you are not very great. You are just purely great. So we'll bump you down to an 8.3. Not to mention, if this thing doesn't come out, it'll eventually go down even lower. Beyond Boulder Dash, this is a party game with a thing. I remember that there's a big catch to the game. I don't remember what it is. What is the party catch? Oh, that's the Spanish one. Probably not going to tell me. These are all... Damn it. I don't remember. It's a... You know what? Here's the bottom line, though. I can't go 8.5 right now if I don't even remember what the special quirk was, so we're going 8.2. I feel like that's fair. If you have left that much of a mark on my brain that I can still passionately say what I liked about that game. Oh, I think that's the one where you make up definitions for things or something. I don't remember. High Society, what are you? Oh, you're that Reiner Knizia game. Yeah, this is a very great little game. Bidding game where you use your car. Yeah, this is a great game. Check that one out. I think Osprey Games did a redoing of it, and it's really good. Dresden Files cooperative game. Yes, very great. Wow, is there really this many games that I've rated this highly? That's awesome. This is one of the best cooperative games of all time, in my opinion, and if you like the Dresden Files, you need to get it because it's like dripping with theme. I know nothing about the Dresden Files, which should tell you how much I like this game, plus there's tons and tons and tons of expansions. Just a no-brainer if you're a Dresden Files fan. Pool Party. Oh, this one's so fun. This is where you have to flick these little things into this moving, wobbly thing in the middle. Yeah, so you get these, you got to flick them in there, and this pool just wobbles all around because it's on a big spring. Kids in my class had so much fun. I played that 100 times, no questions asked. My son loved it. My classroom loved it. Outlived. I got this one at Essen, I remember, and I remember it being one where you'd move around this board and collect resources, and it was pretty difficult. And I don't remember anything else. And if I don't remember anything else, then that means you need to go down to an 8.3. I think that's fair. Century Spice Road. Yes, we talked about the Golem Edition. Whatever. Century Spice Road is still rock solid. 8.5. Wait, that's what I gave Ganymede. And I think Ganymede is a better game. So that means this needs to go down to an 8.4. Go Cuckoo. Don't remember you. Oh, is this the one with the eggs? Yes, this is the one with the eggs. It's like a Kerplunk-esque thing where, yeah, you're trying to make sure this little bird doesn't fall down. It's from Haba Games. It's great. Highly recommended. 8.5 is where that one lives. Spyfall 2. I love Spyfall. Spyfall 2 probably adds more stuff. 8.5 seems great. Just if you haven't played Spyfall, I know it's out of vogue now because we're all just cult of the new, but Spyfall is a really, really still fun game. As long as you're willing to print out like something in the middle that can help people know where all the locations are, because I do remember that being one of the issues with the game. Mechs vs. Minions. This was one of Ronnie's games. This is absolutely gorgeous minions. Some of the best presentation you will see, especially for a 2016 game. And it's from the people, Epic Games, like a massive billion-dollar video game company. And yeah, it has a whole bunch of... Yeah, 8.5 is... We'll go 8.4. Take it down. I don't remember as much as I'd like to. Batman the Animated Series Almost Got 'Em card game. This is a social deduction game based on a very awesome... Batman episode. It's dripping with Batman theme, if I recall correctly. I think the only thing I didn't like about this is I think it had to have a moderator, if I recall correctly. 8.5 is a little strong here, especially since I don't remember the game, and I don't think I kept the game. I think the reason why I didn't keep the game was because social deduction is one of my favorite genres of all time, and so you got to really bring it hard. And I don't think I was going to be able to get this one at the table as much as I'd like. I think that might have been the reason why I got rid of it. Poker Assault. Oh my gosh. I wish that some company would pick up Poker Assault. So this is poker, but with special powers, and I love poker, and I love special powers, and it's spectacular. It actually caused me to try and prototype a game that was like a poker legacy-style game that never actually came to fruition, but Poker Assault still stands strong. Biblios Dice, I still have this. It's still great, but I haven't played it since the review, which means we got to bump it down. But I remember thinking to myself, wow, this does a great job of making me feel like Biblios. But 8.3. Nom Nom. What is this one? Remember Nom Nom. What the hell is that? Oh, yeah, this is from Brain Games. This is this deserves to be a very great game. This is one of those very few games that I absolutely love because you can play it with kids of any age, and if they just randomly play cards, they still have a chance to win the game. So essentially, you play out a card, and you're trying to get the most points. So if you played a wolf, then you would get all the rabbits. But then if there's 2 wolves, then you split the rabbits, and it's delightful. I put it up there with, what's the one from Mayday Games? With the fish, and the pirates, and the other thing. Get Bit. Get Bit, and this, and 2 in the same. Om Nom Nom. Once again, another brain game that I don't think caught on very well that I wish would have. Star Realms expansion, whatever. The Goonies adventure card game. You're like, what? Is that the new one? No, it's not. There was actually another Goonies game that was released in the past. This one doesn't feel nearly as thematic, I think, as the new one, at least from what I've heard. The new one's supposed to be pretty thematic, but it's still a rock-solid little puzzly game that's a lot of fun. Is it great? I got a copy. Still in shrink. So I think that tells me that I got to bump this one down from an 8.5 to an 8.2. Yes. Vikings on board. Was this the other one after New York 1901? I think it was. Yeah, so this was the next year's Blue Orange Games big Gen Con release, which I don't think did nearly as well as they were hoping to. And then I think the year after that, that's when they hit the slam dunk with Photosynthesis. I never looked back from that one. Because I know they still have stuff planned for that one, if I recall correctly. This is a really, really mean game where I remember there were Vikings, and you're knocking stuff out people's ships, and you're trying to fill up these ships. If you like really, really mean games, I highly recommend this one. 8.5, that seems a bit strong. Seems a bit strong since I don't remember much about the game. So yeah, we're going to bump this one down to an 8.2. Timeline Music and Cinema. I love Timeline, you can say there. Council of Blackthorn. Yes, dang it. So this is one of those games I did a Kickstarter video for, and they never actually sent me a full version of the game, which is typically what happens. And I remember it being really, really, really damn good. And I don't remember why. I remember there being a bunch of tracks that you had to keep track of, and you went up and down on. And look at the few pictures there are. Yeah, here are the tracks. This is a Kickstarter that I wish would have got more eyeballs, but unfortunately did not. And I don't remember much about it, so it means we got to go down to an 8.3. Hopefully I'll play it again sometime. And what I hope to do in the future, what I'm going to try and do, is every single time I play a board game, from now on, I'm going to rank it on Boardgamegeek, and then I'm going to shoot a short little video on Twitter and say, hey, I really like this game because X, Y, and Z. I'm rating it an 8.3. Just because I need to get better at social media. And then I can tag companies and do that. The Manhattan Project Energy Empire from James Matthews' company, Minion Games, rest his soul. He was a friend of the show. He helped me out big time a couple times with some of the stuff. And this is a great game that I don't remember anything about except for the unique worker placement aspect of it. So we got to go down to an 8.3. If I haven't gotten you back to played, that just says something to me. Animal upon Animal. Really enjoyable stacking game. If you haven't played it, where you just put animals on top of animals, and then it's fun. It's a great time. I don't think it's a very great time in hindsight, because there's other stacking games that have usurped this. Not that I can name any right now, but still, we'll go to 8.3. You and Manhattan Project, you can take a seat down below. Family Business, great little game about trying to keep your mobsters alive. And I remember it uses the box in a really unique way where there's like a hit row, and like every round there's going to be a mobster that dies, so you want to move your guy to the back of the hit row while moving other people. It's one of my favorite take-that games of all time, to be honest with you. So I think 8.5 is fair. I'd play that at the drop of a hat. If someone said, oh, I love that game, and they knew how to teach it, I'd be all in on it. Does that have a how-to-play video? It needs a how-to-play video. Really does. Rodney, damn it. Dice Tower Comparison? That's not a how-to-play, Sam. What are you doing? This is madness. King's Armory. Yes, this was such an in-depth, meaty, lengthy game. Yeah, 30 to 240 minutes, 1 to 7 players. This is one of the most ambitious tower defense games I've ever seen in my life. And for taking a swing like that big, despite the fact I have not gotten this played in a couple of years, I'm going to leave it at 8.5, because I do love epic, mega, meaty style games, and that's one of them. Star Realms expansion, Liftoff, Get Me Off This Planet. Great game. I stick by great game. Very great. I'm going to bump this one down a little bit, because I believe that if you have the new version of Liftoff, it is very great. Old version now has to take a little bit of a backseat, because I still don't think that the new version even bumps it above an 8.5 for me, but that's like really good. Bring Out Your Dead. This one, once again, did a Kickstarter video for it. Never got a final copy of it, which always sucks, but I think that's because it switched companies. Yeah. This is a game all about running a morgue, if I recall correctly, like a dark morgue. You send your bodies down the river. Yeah, there's the bodies going down the river. And it was a really cool game. Like, honestly, this one might still be at 8.5 if I had a copy of it and got to play it more frequently. but I don't, which means we're down to an 8 point. No, that's not fair. That's not fair on this one, because I very specifically remembered why I liked it. Maybe 1. We'll ding it 0.1. Billionaire Banshee, a delightful part game. I don't know why I put quotes. Oh, I use the word game very loosely here. It's like, feels more like a fun social experience than a game to me, but it's still extremely enjoyable. And yes, I would stick by that. Myself, 2014. Wow. So essentially, this one has you have one very good characteristic about somebody and then one very terrible characteristic. So, for instance, would you date a billionaire who also happened to be a banshee, you know, like a ghost-like figure? And it has so many fun questions. And I remember it did a really delightful way of separating the cards. So if you wanted to play with kids versus if you were going to play with, you know, someone who couldn't handle the not suitable for work, you could easily mix it in there. Really rock solid game. And I know that game did really, really, really well for him, if I recall correctly. And I think I had a talk with him a couple of years ago at a convention, and that kind of was like a snowball that really helped him do a lot of other things. Because I think he's got like little toys and stuff that are in Hot Topic. Yeah, just a highly, and that's his only game. Underrated game, definitely check that one out. That is Billionaire Banshee. Pick a Polar Bear, what the hell are you doing at 8.5 here? I don't remember a dang thing about you. Let's go check you out. I remember this was the one where there were slight differences between cards and you had to figure out what they are. And I still own it, but I haven't played it since I probably shot the review 7 years ago, so that means you're down to an 8. We're just going to go with a flat 8. If I thought you were great then, I still at least give you the respect to say you're great now. But I will say, September 2028 rolls around, you're going from an 8.2 to a 7.7. Because I can't have you linger in the great section. Shadows over Camelot, delightful little game, back when Days of Wonder games actually used to matter. And what I mean by that is they used to actually put out just like one a year and it'd be a huge big deal. And I think they still do that now, but now it's just not a big deal because they're owned by Asmodee, I think. But this, social deduction, lots of different things going on, lots of different tracks you can go and you can fight different things, and it's great. It's an awesome game. Love it. Plus it's got drop in, drop out that doesn't feel terribly clunky, if I recall correctly. Very great. You stay there. Quarantine Z. Oh, is this the one? Is this the small box one? Mm-hmm. Speaking of games that I wish would have gotten some more love, this was an early Kickstarter game, if I recall correctly. Yeah, there's no pictures of what's inside. And I don't remember anything about why I love this game, but I remember thinking it was really great. And since it hasn't gotten played probably since November of 2013, that means we got to go down to an 8.2. That's just fair. Crocodile, love it. You flick. It's awesome. Huge up to Mayday Games to send me one to review. King of Tokyo Power Up. Ooh, you need to be higher. You need to be way higher. So this is a must-own expansion for King of Tokyo, in my personal opinion. King of Tokyo is actually higher up on this list. So this is one of the few times I think we're going up. I don't want to play King of Tokyo without this. I will, because King of Tokyo is so dang delightful. But we're going to go 9.3, and we might even... We might readjust that one later. But that is one of my favorite games of all time, and one of my favorite expansions of all time. So at the very least, it has to get a Bauer's Best Seal, because it deserves a Bauer's Best Seal. And honestly, now I'm thinking about it, we're going more towards a 9.5. That's how much I love King of Tokyo. Terror in Meeple City, a.k.a. Rampage. Still a very cool, delightful little game, where essentially you're going to be moving these big, chunky monsters all around the city and trying to knock over these... I don't know if you can tell... Oh yeah, cool. Zoom in. Good job, BGG. There's meeples that are actually that hold up the buildings, and you're going to be moving around and destroying these. By the end of the game, this is all going to be destroyed. You're going to be flicking, news vans and hot dog trucks and stuff like that. It's really cool. I wish that game would have caught on more because there was just so much potential to make it even a bigger game, add another board, just do more stuff to it. But I think they got in trouble for using the Rampage name, so they had to change it to Terror Meeple City, and I don't know. It's one of those games that's been lost to time, but I will stick with it at an 8.5. I think it's a very great game still. Tiki Topple, I played you at a convention 2 or 3 times 8 years ago and really liked you. And I don't remember much. I remember that things would fall and there was like a chain reaction and yada, yada, yada. That's not an 8.5. Can't do it to you. 8.1. Taking a heavy ding. I remember you being great. I want you. I want to buy you. I don't just want you in a trade. I want to buy you, but no. Robinson Crusoe, Adventure on the Cursed Island. I'd like to get the new deluxe version of this, which apparently has better rules, because remember the rules being the one thing that sucked, but this is one of the most difficult games of all time. It puts you on the island. It has a really cool mechanism where you'll do something with a card, and then it'll come back later, and it's just great. It's great. You poke your eye with a stick, and then the stick will, get bacteria on it, and just, I don't know. Super cool. Highly recommended. Cosmic Encounter. Tom Vassel's favorite game of all time, and just a great little game. It goes up to 7 players. At least I thought it did. Maybe that's with an expansion. Get the expansions. It still deserves to be up in the very great spot, at least in my personal opinion. Ticket to Ride Europe. I don't remember why. What's the quirk with Ticket to Ride Europe? I don't remember. I think it was those like train parts or something. I think 8.5 is fair on this, but I don't remember why. I don't remember why, which means I need to ding it down. Because 7 Wonders, I could talk about all day. I could do a whole podcast about 7 Wonders, even though I don't do podcasts. All right, so 7 Wonders, great. One of our go-to 7-player games for game night. Still love the drafting mechanic. I think it's probably my favorite 7-player non-party game. Ooh, do I think it's still my favorite 7-player non-party game? Yeah, which means you stay at the 8.5. In fact, you know what? With your expansions, because the expansions do add some good stuff to it, we're going to bump that one up to an 8.6. Wordsmith the card game. This was one of the first Kickstarter videos I ever did. I remember it's about making words, and I think it got reprinted at some point. Yeah, 44 review. Wow, that's so long ago. And I remember this one, yeah, I'm going to keep... Ooh, 8.5 is like, this is... You're swimming with some sharks here, Wordsmith. I think you can go down to the 8.2. One of the reasons why I really love this game and why I still want to keep it in the great category is because I have very, very good recollections of using this in my classroom and teaching kids, helping kids practice how to spell while it still was a fun time. So Wordsmith the card game is still in the greats. Scythe the modular board. Oh, I hate you, Scythe the modular board. You can go get bent. So this was actually, I believe, one of the reasons why I don't get any more review copies from Stonemaier Games, because I broke an embargo on Scythe the modular board for by like a month. He's like, oh no, I said June, not July. Like, he sent me in all caps. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And yeah, then things went south from there. But still, I can't hold that against it. I don't remember what was special about the Scythe modular board, though, which means we need to go down, like, to at least an 8.3. You're not very great. Because here's the bottom line. The last time I played Scythe, I don't think I used it either. So I don't know. We'll see. Gugong. Ooh, yeah, this is one of Tasty Minstrel's last games, if I recall correctly. It's a very, very interesting brain birdie style game. I remember really, really enjoying this game because there was like a whole bunch of different things that you had to keep track on going on at once, and I love when games do that. I think there was like a river. Yeah, your goods would ship down the river. Woo! I want to get this one played again, so I think we can stick with the 8.6. That seems fair. Smiths of Winterforge. I remember this one played 6 players, which was part of the reason why I really bumped it up a little bit. Yep, do remember that. That's the only thing I remember about it. I remember you're walking around like a blacksmith, like the inside of a... Like this thing, the inside is like a big, deep, dark, like a cave or something. Yeah, I guess it'd be a forge, a smithy. I don't know. 8.6 seems a bit high. It's on my shelf, and since I reviewed it in January 2019, has not gotten played anymore, so we're going to bump that down to an 8.4. I think it is out of the very great category, but that being said, if I actually got that one back to the table, probably the next time I get that one back to the table is probably going to decide whether or not I keep it, because there are some worker placement games that I will just always love and I'll always want to keep, and I don't think that this is quite in that rarefied air. Gearworks, what are you? Oh yeah, this was a really interesting game. I kept this one. It had a Sudoku-style feel where you had to be looking both this way and that way and making things or something. I also remember there was pretty good solo as well. I don't remember enough for it to be sitting at an 8.6, though, so we're going with an 8.4. You get dinged down. Boo! Yes, this one stays up here. This is one of the ones I picked up at Essen. I wish this game really would have got more traction, and it's a very interesting, super quiet game. So essentially there's a ghost here, and you have to figure out how you can get to this door, but you can only go through like orange doors or something. So you'd be like, oh, I have to go here to here to here, but then it's a dead end here. And so everyone's secretly doing this in their head. So yeah, I found it. So it'd be like orange would be boom, 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 all the way around, bam, bam, and then, oh no, that wouldn't work. Could I even get to here through orange? Oh, but if it gets to the point where you can't physically get to the location, then you have to do something else. Like, it's a great little game. It is a very great little game. One that I still own, and if I still have my classroom, it'd still be getting played. I remember the kids went absolutely bananas for Boo. I hope someone brings that to America, or that it gets more popular, if they already did. Blank. Is this a legacy game? Yes, this is one of my favorite legacy games of all time. I'll put this very simply. If your kids like Uno, you need to get them Blank. Period. It's pretty much like Uno, but a legacy game and with a little bit more gaminess, and it's just absolutely delightful. There's even a pandemic expansion to it too, if I believe. And the cool thing about it is it's kind of like we didn't playtest this anyway legacy, where you actually get to write on cards, and those cards will then modify the game in future games, and they have your name on it. It just is really cool, and the kids absolutely adore it. I remember I played that. I had a classroom version of Blank, and I remember it was so cool because I would play it over the years, and people would be like, oh, I remember this kid, I remember that kid, and it was just neat. It was neat to go back. Shark Island. My buddy Pete represented. I remember this was a social deduction game, if I recall correctly, where there's a cooperative secret unit deployment. I thought it was. Where you're working against the shark, and I remember it being very thematic and a bit clunky. I'm gonna guess that because Pete's my boy. I like Pete a lot. Pete Charlie, who works for Simon, I think. Yeah, but very great. I don't think it belongs there. You know, my friendship can only make it still a great game, but I still do think it is a great game. But I remember thinking the rules were clunky. But I remember it was super thematic, and it's one that I want to go back and revisit because I still own it. Shark Island. Archer, once you go blackmail, we'll leave it really simple. This is the best version of Love Letter. I don't remember why it's the best version of Love Letter. I'm assuming that it's the cards inside, but I remember exactly why it deserves to be here, because I love it, and I think I still kept it. No, I didn't keep it because I couldn't play it in my classroom. I remember there was like one card where it was like, oh, can't play it in the classroom, and so I kept a different version of Love Letter that did something very, very similar. Dice City, I really liked this game. This is one where you're making your own city and rolling a die, and then depending on what you roll, you get to like get money or coal, then you can build other things. It's really good. I don't know if it's 8.6 good. It used to be 8.6 good, and then I've played the base game I think 4 or 5 times now at my buddy Brandon's house, and every time it just gets slightly a little bit lower because we haven't played the expansion. So without the expansions, without me having played the expansion, I think it gets bumped down from the very great category to the great category. Still like it. Best tree house ever. This is that small box game, green couch games. Yeah, this is a really cool game where you make your own best tree house ever, and it works really well thematically, if I remember, and it's a really fun game. Is it a great game? I think I was drinking too much of that Kool-Aid back then. We're going to go 8.4. Actually, honestly, with that one, we're going to go 8.3. All right. But I played it 6 times. I was really hot on it for a period. But once again, this one has just been dropped and not played again. And I played other Green Couch games since then. Slapshot. This is a 7-player, I believe it goes up to 7-player hockey game. No, it goes up to 10 players. So that immediately gives it bonus points. And I remember really, really liking this game. And dang it, now that I see this game, I want to get back to the table. I don't remember what was so great about this game, but I'm immediately being just flushed with emotions of why it's very great. But can I keep it very great if I don't remember anything why I loved it? No, I can't. It's not fair. It's not fair to Siege of Sunfall, which also I can immediately tell you is going to the 8.4 because I don't remember. I don't remember anything about this game. I remember doing a Kickstarter video on it. They never sent me the final version of the game. I remember it was a delightful little game, but here's the bottom line. I'm sure if I emailed them and say, hey, I did a video, can I get a copy of this? They would be like, oh yeah, super sorry. We totally missed it. That happens all the time. Not venting or complaining about that. But I didn't. And there's been other games where I was like, oh yeah, they didn't send me that. It's out. And I will immediately just like send an email. Be like, hey, what's up? Remember that I did that video? Hey, can I get a final copy? And this one I don't have that urge. Which means very great? No. Thieves. Oh, this one has a special spot in my heart. I think I reviewed this one in the hospital, if I recall correctly. Live from the hospital. Yeah, this was a really fun little card game about thieves. You're trying to steal gems, and I still own it. I don't remember anything about it. I might need to get that one back to the table, but very great. Can I put you at very great? Yes, I can, because it reminds me of when my son Luke was born. So you know what? Sentimental value, keeping Thieves at 8.6, whereas Siege of Sunfall down to 8.4. Res Publica 2230 AD. I believe this is a Reiner Knizia negotiation game that I think the rules weren't the best, if I recall correctly, but the gameplay was just absolutely fantastic. And I remember this was a game where you were just trading all over the place and trying to trade all over the place. That's all I remember. Which isn't good. You know, I don't think I still have this one either. Yeah, set collection, you were trying to get sets, you were trying to trade. I remember the trading was so much fun. But if I don't really recall you that much, out. Star Realms Colony Wars. I don't even know what this is. What is this? Is this one I played at a convention one time and read? Oh, never mind. This is an expansion to Star Realms. Yeah, you stay there. I was thinking Star Wars. Freedom, the Underground Railroad. This is a really interesting one. So this is a really great game. Ooh, I just said it's a really great game. So I have an 8.5, so it should stay around an 8.5. It's about slavery, and it does a really good job of feeling like a thematic game, which is going to turn off a lot of people. But damn it, it's a great game. This is one that I'll probably play with my son when he gets a little bit older. Maybe when he gets, I think it's second grade is when they really start talking about slavery in school. At least that was when I taught the unit. But I haven't played in forever, which means, are you really great? Oh, 8.4. 8.4. It's on my shelf. I actually see it right there, so I know it's great, but I can't get it back to the table, which means got to ding it a little bit. Alchemist. Excellent. Love it. Staying there. My buddy Ronnie owned this one. This is one of the first really, really good app-implemented games that I can remember, where essentially you were an alchemist, and the way you would find out if your spells work is you would be scanning these different ingredients together, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff on the board. There's different things to keep track of, and I want to play that game right now, so I feel like an 8.6 is fair. Poker. 8.6. I'll keep it there. Poker, still to this day, honestly, it might even be higher than that. When you're actually gambling in poker, it's just one of my favorite games of all time. Bluffing, like lying with money on the line, and it literally is like, if I'm a good enough liar, then I might just win a whole bunch of money with a crappy hand. Like, that's so fun. But you know poker. Let's keep going. Spyfall. Delightful. We already talked about Spyfall 2. You can stay there. Volt Robot Battle Arena. This is a really cool one from Emerson Matsuki. And he's one of my favorite designers of all time, I do believe. But this one is a programming game where you're going to program robots and things are going to go askew and you're trying to shoot lasers. It's a whole bunch of fun, and they actually put out another edition of this, which I would love to get my hands on because I think that turns it into a 6-player game. But yes, very great game. You can stay here. London, Martin Wallace. This is one of the meanest games I ever recall, if it's the right game. And I don't remember why I love this game. Which means we go from very great to 8.4. That's the rule. 8.4. Bam, bam, bam. Converter of the Cave Farmers. This is the one where you're building your own cave. I really love this. Stefan Feld or Uwe Rosenberg. I get them mixed up. Yes. Delightful. You stay here. Such a good game. This is the one that is the Agricola. So this is the Agricola Killer, is what most people call it. And I would agree with that. What the Food? This is a delightful game. It goes up to 8 players. I think if you have the expansion, it goes up to 10 players. And essentially, it's a programming game that actually got re-released under a different name, and then it became way more popular for Peter, who now is the owner. He's one of the co-owners of the company with Brad Brooks, if I recall correctly, that did Dwellings of Eldervale. No, they didn't. They didn't do Dwellings of Eldervale. Excuse me. they made Flamecraft. It's a great game. It honestly is just a great game. It's one of my favorite programming games of all time, and it goes up to 10 points with the expansion. What more could you possibly want? Libertalia, this was the pirate game I was thinking about earlier. I love this game. Everybody gets the same cards, but you're only going to spend a certain amount of those cards, and then you can keep the cards that you didn't play, which means in that next round, you'll be the only person in the game who has those cards, and every single card is different and unique, and it does different things, and it's a clean and clear system, because whoever has the lowest number goes first, and I love that game. Love that. 8.6, I do believe you deserve to be here. Carcassonne. I really, really like Carcassonne. I've never played hardly any of the expansions. I can't put this as very great. One day when I play all the expansions, maybe it goes higher, but 8.3 is fair. Resistance, love it. One of my favorite social games, deduction games of all time. You Stay. Awkward Guess. This is the best version of Clue ever, in my opinion. It's deduction. It's not social deduction. It's just deduction. Everybody's got certain pieces of information. You're exchanging pieces of information. It is an absolutely delightful game. They also have another version of this called Scandal O, which is like a step up from this game. And I'll put it like this. If you like Awkward Guess already, I would definitely recommend trying Scandal O's. And if you don't know if you like Awkward Guess, go get Awkward Guess first. But I did a Kickstarter video on Scandal O. Troll and Dragon. Yes, this is a great little game from Loki, which is a spin-off of Yellow, focused specifically on children's games and family games, and this one was absolutely delightful. My son went insane for this game. This was one of his favorite games of all time. And I remember it had like some speed dice rolling. I think it was Press Your Luck. It stays there because every time it just makes me think of my son and how excited he was to play that game. Farm Rescue. This is another one from Brain Games that I don't think got enough love. Yeah, this is one of my 3-year-old's favorite games when it first came out. I don't remember anything about it. I think you're trying to catch up to this wolf or something like that. I think it's matching game, perhaps. Can it be up here, though? See, Troll and Dragon and Farm Rescue, those ones are very sentimental to me because my kids absolutely love those. Not my kids in my classroom, but my personal kids absolutely love those games. So we're going to keep them there because I have such fond memories of playing those with my kids. Trade on the Tigris. Oh, I think this is the 7-player one from TMG. 6-player one. This is one of the best trading and negotiation games of all time. It has religion. It has tons of special abilities. Look at that player board. Look at the amount of information on those player boards. Oh, that's such a sexy player board. One of my favorite TMG games of all time. I don't remember as well as I'd like to. 8.7. We're going to have to ding it just a little bit. Down to an 8.6 for that. Fleecing Olympus. I believe this is another negotiation game, and I'm slowly learning that I really like negotiation. Yeah, negotiation games. This one was really quick, too, if I recall correctly. 20 to 45 minutes. Yeah, this is a really stinking good game. I don't remember why it's a really stinking good game. I own it. I actually see it right there, and I want to get that to the table soon. I probably won't, but I do have to ding it 8.6. This is one of those ones where I played, I loved, and then it didn't get played after the review, but I still own it. We'll get there eventually. Funky Chicken. Is this one where you have to get underneath the chicken? Oh, no. This is a spin-off of Sushi Go, where essentially it just adds new cards, and it's just Sushi Go with a different code. Not Sushi Go. What's the game that comes in a fish? It's from Blue Orange Games. It's delightful, and this one is also delightful, but less delightful because it doesn't have an expansion. Dang it, what's the other game? That's really going to drive me nuts if I don't remember. Somebody surely mentioned it here. Happy Salmon. There it is. The thing with Happy Salmon is Happy Salmon, I believe, goes up to 6 players, but I think with the expansion, yeah, the blue one, I think you can make it go up to 12 players, which definitely holds it above Funky Chicken for that very reason. So I don't know if Happy Salmon is higher on this list, but Happy Salmon should be again above Funky Chicken, I do believe. Even though Funky Chicken, I think, makes you a little bit more active and move more, so I think it was exercise that I liked it. But I am going to ding that one just down a little bit. Because honestly, I would always play Happy Salmon over that. And Happy Salmon is a little bit of a funky chicken killer to me, especially with that blue fish expansion. Those are weird words I just said. Don't get messed with Cthulhu. 8.7. No. That's a Bauer's Best Seal. This is one of the best social deduction games of all time, and you can play with 4 players, and it plays really, really good with 4 players. Get yourself the Necronomicon expansion. Whoa, they changed the name to No Touch Kraken. I want to try that. Oh, so they just themed it a bunch of different themes. Okay, tons of different themes. What? Awesome. It's a great game, though. Highly recommend it. No, it is a spectacular game. Bauer's Best Seal on this one. Star Trek Panic. This is Castle Panic, but with a Star Trek theme. It's really, really good. I remember I really like the components. Yeah, you're protecting the ship, which makes it look super duper cool. Unfortunately, it didn't get massively popular, which it didn't get the expansions that I was hoping it would, because Castle Panic got all the expansions. This does not have any expansions. And here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line on this. I got to get this one out of the very great. Why? No, I can't. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. I think it's the best Star Trek game I've ever played. But I want expansions. We'll go 8.6. Just a smidge. Just a smidge down. I think I still own it, though. Colorful Serengeti. Don't remember this game at all. This was a card game that I imagine I played in my... Oh, yeah. This is the one where you have to look at the pictures, then you have to try and figure out things. Yeah, this is a delightful little family game. Is it very great? Taking it down a little bit. We'll keep it in the very great for now. I think I still own it, but I don't think I've got it. I need to get that one back to the table. And here's the thing. Some of these games were games that I played on a routine basis in my classroom, and now that I don't have a classroom, they don't get played. Does that make them any less good? No, it doesn't, so I shouldn't take it down. But my taste in games has changed. I don't know. 8.5. Dreamwell. Once again, this is one of those games that I didn't get a final copy of it, despite the fact I did a Kickstarter video for it. That's a recurring theme. But I remember it was an absolutely delightful abstract strategy game about like sleep and dreaming. But the bottom line is, I didn't reach out to them and try and get a copy of the game. And I still could. I could still be like, hey, I did a video for this. Would you send me one? And I'd say, eh. Which means you go down to an 8.4. You're not very great. You're still great. Letter Tycoon. Oh, is this Brad Brooks? Yeah, this one's delightful. Yep. I want to play the expansion of this one so bad. So this is one of my favorite spelling games of all time. And what's cool about it is you essentially also can buy stocks, and those stocks are going to be different letters. And then when other people use those different letters, you'll gain points when they use the different letters. And it's just delightful and so cleverly created. Check that one out. Viceroy. Ooh, this one, Blue Orange Games. I really, really like this one. And I still own this one. I think I still have the expansion for this one. But it hasn't got played in oh so long since I reviewed the expansion, probably. Which means I don't think it's very great anymore. If it was really very great, I think I would at least have made an effort to get it to the table. I think this one might have been a rule booklet one. Is there a good how to play video? I don't know. A good how to play video could redeem that one for me. But just honestly, you know, I just don't see myself getting that one back to the table, which stinks. Because I remember it being really great. No, I just remember it being great. 8.4. Viceroy Stipulations. Oh, this is that little party game, right? Yeah, it's a really fun party game where essentially you're given like a superpower and then somebody writes down like a stipulation for that superpower. And if I recall correctly, you have to try and figure out, so it'd be like, try and ruin someone's superpower. So it'd be like, I can fly, but it's like only, you know, in when it's -6 degrees or something oddly specific like that. And it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Very great, though? No. Can't do it. Can't do it. I think I played a lot of other party games since then. I'm not going to dig it down super hard, but still a great game. This House is Haunted. Yes, you're going to stay at 8.7. This is one of the most unique, interesting games of all time. This is a game where quite literally you want to go into a dark room and you go around and you explore your house, and it's just as awesome and crazy as it sounds. Check this one out. I want to see them reprint this one. This House is Haunted. Stay in there. Cash and Guns 2nd Edition. I talked about Cash and Guns a little bit earlier. Cash and Guns 2nd Edition. You're staying there. I still think very fondly of this. If anyone ever said, we have like 5 or 6 players, and somebody said, let's play Cash and Guns, I said, yeah, let's do it. Immediately. God Hates Charades. This is one of those ones where, once again, I didn't get I did a Kickstarter video for it, and they never sent me the final version of the game. And actually, this one got, like, massively popular. I think it has a bunch of expansions. And I think I might have actually asked them for a review copy at a convention, and they're like, no. And I was like, well, I did the Kickstarter video for me. And I don't think they still gave it to me at that point. Which was like, okay. It is what it is. Wait, Jeff Goldblum? What the hell? Oh, so this is someone playing it out. But yeah, that's a super fun game. And yeah, 8.7. Occasionally, a combo of cards will fall completely on its face. However, the game plays so quickly, and the rest of the game, we were laughing so hard, it didn't even matter. Ideal adult party game, and I stand by that, so I think 8.7 is fair. Yeah, I think 8.7 is fair, because if I still had it, I'd still keep it, and I'd still want to play it. Alien Frontiers, this is what I was talking about. Sometimes worker placement, or in this case, dice placement games just are ones that I absolutely always will play at a drop of a hat. And this is one of them. And my burning love for Alien Frontiers is still here. I see it right there. I would play it right now, and I've never played through any of the expansions, so 8.7 I think is fair. Lost Cities, 8.7, still delightful. One of my favorite two-player games of all time. Nah, 8.7 is fair. Kingsburg, dice placement, yet again, absolutely spectacular. Get yourself the 2nd edition of it because it has a whole bunch of just tons and tons of extra content, which really does make the game better, in my opinion. You can mix and match what you want. Tons of modules in there. Kingsburg, excellent. 2nd edition is absolutely excellent. Resistance Avalon, spectacular version of the Resistance. We're getting to the cream of the crop. Under Falling Skies, this was a solo one. Ooh. I was really hot on this game when it first came out. When I first came out, I played like 10 games of it because, you know, it was oh yeah, this is such a good game. So these ships are coming down and you have to kill them, and these are all the different places where you're going to place dice, and it's really, really fun. But 8.8? 8.8? I don't know about that. We're going to go 8.5. I still think it's a very great game. But the bottom line is, since I reviewed it, I haven't got it back to the table. Now, that could just be on me because I don't play many solo games, but it also is partially because if I'm playing a solo game, most likely it's because I need to review a solo game. So I just don't... Where, you know what? That's not fair because every once in a while I'll still bust out some solo games, and this one is not one of them. All right. Wildlands. This is a delightful little game. I wish I had the expansions for it. From Osprey Games. Martin Wallace, where you're moving around, and every single tribe has its own different like special abilities and stuff, and it's just so stinking good, and I can tell you why. I don't remember why it's so stinking good, which means 8.8 is too high. Too high. It's too high right there. I can't tell you why I loved it. Viceroy, Time of Darkness. You made Viceroy better, and I put Viceroy down here at, what, 8.4? Which means technically this should be an 8.5, but I don't remember a single thing about, like, that expansion. I don't remember anything at all about this expansion in any way, shape, or form, which means we got to go down to 8.5 and readjust that one. We'll check in a couple of years to see if I get it back to the table. Man, 8.8, that was high on that. Master of the Galaxy, 8.8. We'll see if that, because I don't even know what the hell you are. Oh, yeah, this is probably my favorite Ares games of all time, and it has Yeah, so you're going around space, tons of cubes, tons of special abilities and things. And I remember thinking that this game was so amazingly good. And it never caught on. I don't know why it didn't catch on. Maybe it was the rules. I think I'm remembering the rules were a bit clunky. But if I can't remember why, we got to ding you a little bit. I don't want to completely disregard my first impression of the game, but I need to at least remember why I loved you so much. And Master of the Galaxy, I played a couple times, I reviewed, I still own, I think, but I don't remember why. That's Not Lemonade, another one from Matt Fantastic. I think that might be his third game on this list. Delightful. Delightful little party game. Plays up to 6 players. It's from Two Rooms and a Boom. Tuesday Night Games. Very small box. Super simple. Easy to learn. Easy to teach. I probably sold about 5 or 6 copies of this game because I just play it with people who are like, that's great. I want to play it 10 minutes. Yeah. Delightful. One of my favorite filler games of all time. Pocket Ops. This one, the best tic-tac-toe game of all time. Period. So you stay here. Great. Okay, so we got a comment. Whoa, we're not looking at the comment right now. We're looking at Pioneer Days, which is still a very delightful game from Tasty Dimensional Games. One of my favorite Tasty Dimensional games of all time, at an 8.8. Woo! That's hot. Now, I remember bringing this into my classroom, and if you have kids between the age of, say, 10 to 15 in that range, because it's not quite medium weight Euro, but it's very, very close to it. It has some really interesting choices. I remember the weather system and the dice system and how it all worked was just beautifully put together. I remember it was very easy to teach because the mechanisms just clicked with the gameplay and nice components. And the more I talk about it, the more I say, you know what, 8.8, you stay right there. Dragon's Breath. We're getting to the top. Dragon's Breath, this one was the Spiel des Jahres winner one time. Yeah, this is delightful. So essentially you take off the ring, whatever falls off, you get that specific color. So every round you're trying to pick what color you think is going to fall off the sides, and it's just so much fun. The kids that I've played with absolutely love that game. I know there's a card game as well. Whatever that is. 8.8 seems fair, though. Yeah. For the amount of fun I had with kids with that, we stay there. Feudalia. This is one of the best deck-building games I've ever played of all time. However, it's a hefty one. Lots of cards, lots of choices, lots of interesting things going on. I remember it being a brain-burning game, which is not typically a sensation I do, because I don't normally have analysis paralysis. I just don't. I think it's the host in me trying to just make sure the game doesn't slow down. But Feudalia, very great game, but once again, we're going to ding it down to an 8.6 because it's very, very great, and I love it, and I'm speaking fondly of it, but the bottom line is I haven't played it since I reviewed it. Chronicles of Crime. Ooh, I hate to do it to you. We're hitting that one down to an 8.2. That's a big drop right there. Chronicles of Crime, I did the Kickstarter video for it. I was absolutely in love with it, and the more I played it, the more I just grew to just be like, yeah, I got it. I get it. My biggest issue with that game is sometimes you'll just get into like these 5, 10, 15-minute things where you're like, we're not sure what to do next. And it's like, so what do? You just scan everything and just blindly fumble and hope that you're going to do something. Plus, they just made the cases so damn long that I forget some of the important information, which means you have to take notes. And while I still think it's a great experience and a great time, and I will play it, this is one of those games where I always feel like I'm having the least fun at the table. And if Lucky Duck Games comes out with another Chronicles of Crime, I don't think I'll review it unless it's IP, and I really, really love the IP. Feelings, one of the best games about emotions of all time. I'm glad they reprinted this one. The first one was really bizarre because just the nipples. They were just massive, massive nipples on all of the cards. And I know you're like, what? What the hell are you talking? But no, let's see if I can get some of the pictures. Well, those are dudes. But look at even like their nipples are weird. Like there's X's over their nipples. But the women in the game just had absolutely, yeah, there you go. It was like, that's so odd. Like I don't get me wrong, I think it's quality artwork, but it's just like that's a really odd choice. And like every single woman in the game that I can recall, it was weird. It was weird. And so they redid the artwork, but this is such a delightful game. Like, honestly, this is one of the best games ever to talk about your feelings. I remember playing this at a bachelor's party, and it was one of those ones where, like, are we really playing this? Every time I played this with adults, it's like, are we really playing this? But by the end, they're convinced. It is such a rock-solid game. Feelings. One of the best games of all time, in my personal opinion. Ooh, I'm debating on giving that one a Bowers Best still because of how unique it is. Putting it up in the 9s? I'd have to play it one more time, but that one's close to getting a 9. Queen Domino, one of the best lighter weight games I've ever played, 25 minutes. Then the expansion comes with this big tower as well. And it's really, you just pick tiles and you're creating your own little kingdom. It's a whole heck of a lot of fun. I have nothing negative to say about it, which means 8.8 sounds about right to me. Tale of Pirates, yeah, this is one of my favorite legacy games. I don't think it's legacy. I think it's a chapter-esque one where essentially there's a whole bunch of sand timers in the ship. That's a terrible angle of the ship. But the ship is actually like a real three... Dang it, stop doing top-down. You need to do the sideways because the ship is actually like a real pirate ship. And all these things are sand timers. And you have to keep the sand timers going. It's real-time. It's fast and frantic. It has a really good app implementation. And I'm really surprised this game didn't do better than it did, because I remember when it released at Essen, like, it was right at the front door. They had a big display. I think they had a pirate ship, and yeah, I still own this game, and I want to play this with my sons when they get older. It is a delightful little game. Happy Salmon, yep, rightfully above Funky Chicken. Make sure you get both versions so you can go up to 12 players. Ticket to Ride Germany. I think this one has the little things that go over the trains, if I recall. The train stations, I want to say. No, those are meeples. What the heck is going on here? Oh my gosh, I want to go back and play this, but oh, that's where you pick up passengers. Yeah, this is a great version of Ticket to Ride, but 8.8? Nah, I got to get that one back to the table. We'll still go very great. I'll give you the respect. I believe that I was right when I gave it an 8.8, but having not played it again and having not reached out to play it again, we're bumped down to 8.5. Vikings Gone Wild, one of my favorite deck-building games of all time from Lucky Duck Games. It's got a bunch of expansions, and it's not like Aeon's End. I love Aeon's End because Aeon's End does things way differently in the deck-building genre. It just makes you think, like, wow, that was really intriguing. This one was much more like the deck-building game where they're like, how about we just throw every single thing against the wall? Like, it's like, is this one where you buy from a deck that, like, constantly changes, or is this one where you buy from stationary spots? And the answer is yes. This is one where you're building things and upgrading your buildings. And there's so many little moving parts and moving pieces in this game. I think it's a spectacular deck builder. Stays right there. World Championship Russian Roulette, also going to stay right there. This is another one from Tuesday Night Games, who puts out some dang good games. Actually, I think they might have the best track. I think I like every single thing that they put out. I think they might have had like a micro card game that I wasn't so hot on, but I don't even think they released that, really. Let's go check. Well, that's a different list for a different time. But this one is all about playing the World Championship Russian Roulette. You got a bunch of characters, and you're trying to keep your characters alive, and it's player elimination, and it's delightful. Check that one out if you don't mind the theme. Arkham Horror, the card game. Yes, one of the best two-player LCGs of all time. Also, you can play it solo, which is hopefully one day what I'll do. When I live in an RV and I drive all around the country, I imagine I will have two living card games. It will be this one, and it will be Lord of the Rings, and I still feel that strongly about it. Oracle of Delphi. Dang it, 8.8. Yeah, when I first played this, it was an 8.8, but then it never got to the table ever again. I believe this was Stefan Feld. It was a really awesome racing game from, I think TMG brought it. It says Pegasus Spiel, but I'm pretty sure TMG brought it to America. And I remember what I really loved about this game was there was just numerous different ways that you could win the game. Like you could complete your race. But honestly, this looks so foreign to me. I don't even remember. But really great game. Yeah, 8.6, really great game. I don't remember why. Continuing onward, Chimera Station. No, you're getting bumped down. This one is also another Tasty Minstrel Games, a really great Tasty Minstrel Games game, which, the cool thing was it was a worker modification game where you'd actually create your workers with these different tentacles and different parts and pieces, and then those different parts and pieces would give your workers different attributes. They'd be better at gaining plants or doing this or doing that. I own it. It's right over there. It hasn't got back to the table, which means we've got to ding you down a little bit. Ice Cool, you're delightful, especially if Ice Cool 2. It's a flicking penguin game. It's spectacular. You probably know about it. If you don't, and you have kids, you need to go get yourself Ice Cool. It is just so much fun. Jurassic Tech, that was actually the game I was talking about a little bit earlier when I dinged down the other game from Green Couch Games. This is a two-player war-style game, and it's one of the best two-player war-style games that I've ever played. I actually just played this a couple months ago with my son. I was like, dang, this is still a really great game. And 8.8, really great? That's too high. Like, Jurassic Tech and Ice Cool, I mean, come on. We're talking about different games here. So we're going to bump it down to an 8.6. I think that's fair. Timeline Inventions, it's more Timeline. I love Timeline. The Last Spike, this is one of the best lightweight games of all time. Or one of the best, I would say almost gateway game. It's 45 minutes in that Ticket to Ride style genre where essentially you're building train tracks. Everybody's building them. And I don't remember the big catch, but I remember it was absolutely spectacular. Yeah, so you're collecting these different things, and the more you collect them, set collection-wise, the more money you get at the end of the game, and it's just, I want to get that one played, but I do have to ding it down. I will go 8.6. I'll go 8.7, because I still have very fond memories about that game, but I just don't remember why. Onitama, is this the abstract strategy game? No, this is my favorite abstract strategy game of all time. from Arcane Wonders, and it's really, really good. And I remember that you only have like 2 cards, and there's 1 card in the middle, and whenever you use a card, you essentially move your piece, but then you have to put that card back in the middle, which means the other player can get it, can use it, so it's kind of like you're like, oh, do I want to get rid of it? Yeah, so 8.8 is a bit strong. We'll go 8.7 on that one. Mage Wars Academy. Ooh, so this was the 30-minute version of Mage Wars, I believe, yeah, which never caught on. And to be quite frank, I actually was thinking about getting it out and playing it again, because right now it's all mixed in with my Mage Wars, and I just said to myself, meh. Yeah, so we're going to bump this one down. As much as I love Mage Wars, I don't think this is a very great game. I just can't do it. I've had no desire to ever play it again. Yeah, like, I have no desire to ever play Mage Wars Academy again. If I'm going to play Mage Wars, I want the full experience. I want to craft my deck book. I want to have a long, drawn-out duel. It's going to take 2 to 3 hours. And I actually just played Mage Wars a couple weeks ago, and it was still everything I absolutely wanted. But 8.4 will bump that down, and I have a feeling next time we do this list, in a decade or whatever, it's going to go down to probably an 8.2. Spoilers. Spectre Ops. Yes, one of the best hidden movement games of all time. Yeah, 1 versus all. One person has a little sheet of paper where they're moving around and they're trying to get to the different locations where the other people are trying to find them. It creates an amazing sense of tension. And yeah, there's actually an expansion. Like, if I could have one game with one expansion right now, it might be Spectre Ops. Like, that's how much I love that game. So 8.8. And unfortunately, that was a Ronnie game, so I don't get to play it anymore. But yes, I want to play it. Yeah, wishlist. Like to have, want to play. Apparently, I don't want to buy it, though. Telestrations, yeah, we go back to Scrawl. It's one of those games, you know, where, yeah, you get it. Say soccer ball, you do this, soccer ball, then they think it's a pizza, and now we're off on a run. It's a lot of fun. I would recommend the 10-player version of it, personally, just because if you're going to get one, make it so you can play with everybody when you want to. Star Realms, one of my favorite deck-building games of all time. 8.8 is fair. Zolkin, the Mayan Calendar. So this one is sitting at an 8.8 right now. I absolutely love it. Need to get that off the wish list, because now I don't own it. Boop. Or I do own it. And I actually have the expansion over there. I just got it at Gen Con. So this one, I have a feeling, is going to go even higher. And the thing I love most about Zolkin is when you look at Zolkin, you're like, oh, that's going to be a beast to learn. And no, it's actually a really, really simple Rondel game that I absolutely adore. It might be my favorite CGE game. Well, we'll find out as we go higher. Actually, I think it's Codenames. We'll see. Pandemic on the Brink, a must-own expansion for Pandemic. Aeon's End the Void, expansion for Aeon's End. Love Aeon's End. It's probably my favorite deck-building game of all time. Codenames Duet, spectacular 2-player versions of Codenames. If you like Codenames and you routinely play 2 players, check that one out. Hidden Dice Espionage. So this one, gotta ding this one down. I remember really liking this game for a hot minute. I think it was from Mayday Games, and I don't remember why. I remember there was dice, and you had to hide the dice behind the thing down here, which is cool, and I don't remember anything else, which means 8.9 seems a bit high. 8.6. I also don't think I still own it anymore, so that one's probably going to get dinged down. But I will respect my opinion and say that, yeah, it was a very great game, but next time, if I still haven't played Hide, or I still haven't had the urge to play Hide, or I still don't remember what the hell Hide was about, aside from having sneaky hidden dice. All right, Cosmic Run. What do we got? This is the, oh yeah, it's a great one. This is my favorite Dr. Finn's game of all time. This is one where you're racing up these different tracks, and it's delightful. It's a dice placement, I want to say, and it stays up. 8.9 is a bit high. 8.7. We'll go there. Because I still own it, yet I haven't played it in years, but I still have fond memories of it. Say Anything Family Edition, still one of my favorite games that got me into the hobby. It's still a whole heck of a lot of fun. Essentially, it's like Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity of that ilk, except you get a dry erase board so you can make your own answers, and that just adds tons of fun. And yeah, 8.9 is fair. Jungle Speed. So now we are getting into the Bowers Best Seal area. If I give a game a 9, that means I give it a Bowers Best Seal. I think it's one of the best games of all time. I'm excited to get there. Say Anything Family Edition. Now, I know I'm going through the top 300. You're like, wow, you've rated this many games this highly. But the bottom line is, I've reviewed 1,400 plus games. I'm actually closer to 1,500 if you count like Thoughts from the Corner, which are like group reviews. And I played thousands of games. So these are like the creme de la creme for me. Even if I badmouth a game here, I still most likely love this game or really, really like the game. Jungle Speed, absolutely delightful game. That's unique box art. Where you have a bunch of cards, and if your card matches somebody else's cards, then you both have to reach in the middle and grab this little totem, and it leads to just tons of fun, and I've probably played this 100 times in my classroom. The kids go absolutely nuts for it. It's a great party game. Can't recommend enough. Jungle Speed, check it out. Coup Rebellion G54. Ooh, so this was the Coup. It's not an expansion. It's a standalone. It's still very great. I still love it. It's Coup with like essentially 60 or 40 different roles that you could mix in, but I never had the game group who was big enough into Coup that we could just play this and play this and play this and play this and play this. but I have a feeling if I ever found that game group, I would love to play that game over and over with them. But for now, it's on my shelf. It's got to get bumped down a little bit. Nightmare Chess. Nightmare Chess. This is the best chess variant of all time. It essentially makes it so you have a certain number of points that you can spend, and then you can spend those points on specific cards that will do crazy things, or they'll upgrade your characters, or allow you to do different moves. It is delightful. It is the best way to play chess, in my opinion. 8.9 is fair. 2 rooms and a boom. Fantastic large group social deduction game, and when I say large group, I'm talking like 30 people. Yeah, 6 to 30 players. Oh, wow, I knew exactly. That was a lucky guess. I still would rather play Werewolf, Blood on the Clock Tower, and Witch Hunt than this, but it's still very delightful, and I'd play it at the drop of a hat. King of New York. This was the King of Tokyo spinoff. It was the hottest release of Gen Con at the time, which I know sounds crazy. You're like, really? Because now nobody even talks about it. And it's good. It's still very good. Is it great? Man, I don't even remember. I don't remember a dang thing about this. I was super high on it. I will respect your old opinion for us, and we will keep it at a very great game, but 8.5. I have no desire to play this ever again. I can't even do that. We got an 8.4. It's a great game, but still, King of Tokyo is just better in my opinion. It's the old Agricola versus Caverna. King of New York just added a little bit too much complexity. Remember when I talked about Zombie Dice 3 and how I think it just added a little bit too much? King of New York, I think did the same thing. Incognito, I only got to play this once, and my raw initial ratings were an 8.9. I remember there was a nun with 3 nipples. That was the joke that when they taught me the game. And I don't remember anything about this game at all. So I guess that can't be a very great game. I can't do that. 8.4. Lord of the Rings, the card game. This was the LCG I was talking about that I drive around in an RV with. And yes, you stay up here, 8.9. It's one of my favorite living card games of all time. It's a delightful little solo game. Check it out. Mage Wars Arena, 8.9. I am so sorry, Mage Wars. That is so disrespectful of me. You go to 9.3. That's one of my favorite games of all time. You are a mage. You create your own spell book. You craft your own personal spell book. It's easy to craft spells. They made it a really simple way where you can still use nearly every spell, so you can be doing crazy stuff that people won't expect. I absolutely love this game. I can't stop talking about it. So we're going to continue because I only have 19 minutes until I have a live stream. Wow, talking about 300 games. Who would have guessed that's a lot of games? Legendary, a Marvel deck building game. Once again, this is one of those games where every single time I play it, I feel like I'm the person having the least fun at the table, which means we're going to go from an 8.9 to an 8.6. And honestly, do I want it? Nah. My friends got it. I'm good. Wavelength, you can stay there. One of my favorite party games of all time, even though I don't think it's a party game. 2 to 12, yeah, it is. So essentially, it's just like how evil was Hitler, and then it would be like they'd put it. And so obviously most people just put it all the way to the side. But so it's a bad example. But you try and predict what number 0 to 100 someone is going to put an answer, and it's so fun. Feast for Odin. This was one I actually just ranked. Yeah, so whenever time we see September 2021, obviously at 9, it's going to stay there. Destiny, Sea of Sand, yes, 9. This is one of my favorite family games of all time. As long as you go into it knowing that... actually, this one deserves to be a little bit higher than Destiny's. I really like Seas of Sand better than like the original, but they're both spectacular family games. As long as you go into it knowing that it's very light, it's just dice chucking and skill checks, but... It does this really cool system with the QR codes, and it feels like a really amazing sandbox-style game. I can't recommend Destiny's enough. As long as you go into it not expecting it to be, Feast for Odin or something heavy. Cross Clues. Yes, this one was a Codenames killer for me to a certain degree because it still has a lot of the same aspect of Codenames. At least it felt a little bit like Codenames where you're trying to think of clues. But the bottom line is everybody's on the same team, so there was never... If you played Codenames, there's 2 things. Either there's you waiting for someone to give you a clue, or there's you stressing out about giving clues, and that takes that away. And I like it a lot. Letter Jam, CG. This actually might be my favorite CG game of all time. This is one of my favorite word games of all time. It's absolutely delightful, and I cannot recommend it enough. But essentially trying to figure out a word. So everyone's got a letter in front of them. And at the beginning, the beginning of the round, you're trying to figure out a word that uses the letters that everybody has, and maybe you have a couple wild letters that you can throw in there, which are that. And it's hard to explain, but it's absolutely delightful. I can't recommend Letter Jam enough. Woo, throat's going. Need water. Iron Helm. This is the solo game, right? Yeah, solo Game Crafter game. If you're going to buy one game on Game Crafter, buy this one if you like solo games. It's spectacular. It has tons of expansions. Yeah, it's great. keeping it forever, probably. That'll be one of the ones in the van. Terraforming Mars, Terraforming Mars. It's delightful. I love it. It deserves a Bowers Best Sale. Cryptid, Osprey Games. This is such a good little game, but I will say the only thing about this game is it can be ruined by one person doing one thing wrong. But this is a really stinking cool deduction game. Ooh, those are upgraded components. What? Ooh, those are nice. Okay, delightful. Go check out Cryptid. Wildlands, The Unquiet Dead. That's the expansion to Wildlands, which I talked about, and I gave it a Bowers Best Seal. I can't undo that, can I? Yeah, so this one makes it better, and once again, I said Wildlands was a game I really, really loved, and I wish I got to play more of. I wish I had more of the expansion. I know there's like a bunch of other expansions. I think there might be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle expansion or something crazy. Kingsburg 2nd Edition. I'm glad I have it higher than Kingsburg because it's better than the original Kingsburg. Go get the 2nd Edition. I talked about it already. Come Together. Oh, this is an amazing game. This is a game where you're going to talk with your loved one about what you like, what you like. Wink. And it's delightful. It should be in every marriage counselor's office ever. If you go to marriage counseling, you should get a copy of this game. Just period. And it's Matt Fantastic again. I think that's his 4th game on this list. Is he my favorite game designer of all time? That's crazy. Doodle Rush. This is a really fast-paced, 5-minute game. 10 to 15, so it's even so it's not that short. Where everyone's racing to doodle things, and it's so much fun, and I love it, and I don't remember why I love it. I think, yeah, can I give it a 9 still? I've already given it about, so we're in this weird area where I gave things a Bowers Best Seal. I still have very fond memories of this one. Once again, this was one that I played in my classroom. The kids absolutely went nuts for it. I played it as a party game, and the people went nuts for it. So I'll keep it there. Indulgence, 2017. This is one of my favorite trick-taking games of all time. Every single round is a little bit different because you'll get this card where one person is a leader, and it's hard to explain. But essentially, every round, someone is going to be a special. And so they will kind of dictate what kind of trick-taking game you're going to play for that round. It's delightful. Check that one out. Fallen Land, a post-apocalyptic game. I will keep this here. This is one of the most ambitious and loving games I've ever seen. It has 1,000 cards in it, all with tons and tons and tons of text. If you want an epic Ameritrash exploration Fallout style game, look at all those cards. Look at all those cards. And each one, look at all this text. Look at all the text on those cards. Yeah, it's delightful. You deserve your 9. Get the hell out of here. When I Dream. Yes. This is one of my favorite party games of all time, but they gave me a Kickstarter prototype and they never gave me a final version of the game. But I will not be bitter. Essentially, this is one where someone is blindfolded and it has social deduction aspect. It's a real-time party game with deduction, word games. Oh, I want to play it right now. All right, so I tell you, of all the games that I've done Kickstarter videos for, and I say I would love to get a copy of it that I don't, that is probably number 1. Scythe. Scythe. I love Scythe. Boomtown Bandits. I want to give this one a shout out. This one is from Breaking Games. It is absolutely delightful. I don't remember why it's delightful. It's fast-paced and frantic. It has awesome components. And it didn't hit for them. And so I can't remember it. I can't have you in the 9s. If I can't remember why I love you so much, that means we got to go down to an 8.8. I'm sorry, Boomtown Bandits. Splendor. You took a hit. No, I'm going to keep you up at the 9 range because of the expansion. The expansion, which granted you can only add 1 module at a time, has 4 different modules. They all make the game a little bit different, and I still love Splendor, even though Ganymede would be my go-to game night style game. But still, as a lightweight game, hobby, what is it? Gateway game, Splender's still one of the ones I go to first. Plus, I have a playmat, which makes it so much easier. Camel Up, absolutely delightful game. Love this. Goes up to 8 players if I recall correctly. It's a bidding game. You can play this game hammered, and I have with people played. I've taught people that were completely hammered a 7-player game of that, and still had a delightful time. Elysium. I actually just played this one pretty recently. I'm going to ding it down a little bit. This one's really stinking cool though. It needs an expansion, I think, but pretty much the catch with this one is you get these cards and they go up top at this little thing that you have, which is right here, and then eventually they go down to the bottom, and it's a drafting game, but it has a really different way to draft cards because you use these little tokens right here, these little knobby things, and it's delightful. Go play it. Bowers Best Seal, that's a bit of a stretch. Meteor, once again. So this one's sitting at a 9. I love Meteor. It's a fast and frantic, I think, 5 to 10 minute game about trying to launch rocket ships. It came out, 15 minutes, and it came out in a smaller box eventually. This one is Sand Timers. It's a real-time game. It is an absolute blast to play. I've played that game at least 50 times in my classroom. Great little game. Woo! In a Bind. This one actually has been renamed. It's by Berush Shariari. I always mispronounce his name. Sorry, Bez. Sorry, their name. God, I get so bad about that. Yeah, so this one pretty much, I played this with so many kids, it's ridiculous. I used to take it to a family camp that I would go to. And pretty much the general gist is you just keep drawing cards and you have to do these weird things with your body until you can't any longer, at which point generally you're out of the game, and whoever can do the most crazy things with the cards one at a time is the winner. And it's just an absolutely delightful family weight game. Oh my gosh, so many games, so many great games. This is crazy. All right, lightning speed. Here we go. Oh no, so we're 9.1. Ding, 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 ding. Oh my gosh, there's so many games that I've given Bowers Best Seals to. Hanabi in a bind. Here we go. Hanabi, still Antoine Bauza, one of my favorite games. It's a like Indian poker style game. Have you played that before, where you don't actually have the cards in front of you? Have they changed the name now to Native American poker? Is that how it works? Or what do they even call that? You know, the game where you can see everything else and nobody can see what you have. They made that into a cooperative game. It won a Spiel des Jahres. Why won't this go away? But it's spectacular. Help Wanted, that's my own personal game, so this one's super biased. But, you know, it's my own game, so it's I deal with it. Boomtown. Oh, it's a super adult card game. Like, it is the most offensive adult card game that you probably ever played. And what I really like about this game is every single card has unique artwork, which actually has color. That was a stretch goal that we hit. And one day I do want to reprint that. I need to talk to a company that does adult party games and see if they'd be interested in that, because all the work is there. They just have to re-release it, and I can sell it. Boomtown, one of the best underrated games of all time, from Bruno Cathala and Bruno Fedudi. This is a bidding game, and it's just absolutely delightful, where you're trying, it's area control bidding, but like you can, the more area you control, you can become like the mayor of a place and eventually become a governor. It's so delightful. Go check that one out. Just period. It's so good. Coup. Classic game. I've sat there and I've played it for hours and hours and hours. One of our go-to game night games. I love the bluffing, lying, and simplicity of the game. I can't wait to try the expansion. The expansion's great as well. Battlestar Galactica, the board game. You Will Be Missed. Still one of my favorite social deduction games of all time for Fantasy Flight Games. And I love really lengthy social deduction games because you can really build up a sense of trust with someone, and then when you just break that trust, it's just so much fun. Race for the Galaxy, still one of my favorite games of all time. One of my favorite solo games of all time as well. And yeah, this is why with expansions, there's just tons and tons and tons of cards. It's pretty much that you're building, it's an engine builder. But that player engine card, the player reference card, super massive. All right. Dominion Intrigue. Dominion expansion, you get it. Destiny's Bound by Fate. This is the Destiny's expansion that can make it a 2v2 game, and it actually was a whole heck of a lot of fun. So I take it back. I said my favorite 2v2 game of all time was Flag Dash. Apparently, it's Destiny's Bound by Fate. So I apologize. City of the Big Shoulders. This is a meaty, chunky, heavy Euro game all about starting a business in the 1920s. It's a stock market style game, and it is delightful. It's dry as all dirt, but man, is it fun, and the theme comes across. We're Doomed. This is such an awesome larger group game. Goes up to 10 players. It's real time, it's fast, it's frantic, it's negotiation. There's tons of cards that do all sorts of crazy things. This one, quite honestly, you just need to play it. It's very difficult to explain because the rules can change. It's got kind of a flux aspect where if a certain card comes up, the rules change. My First Castle Panic. This game is one of my kids. It's both of my kids. It's in their top 5. It's delightful, easy to learn, easy to teach. It feels Castle Panic-y. And if you have kids, young kids, I'd say between the age of 3 to 8 or 9, it is a must-own game. Ice Cool 2. Yes, it's better than Ice Cool. I would recommend having both because then you can play mega games and then you can combine the boards, and it's just awesome. You know Ice Cool, though, most likely. Scythe the Windgambit, expansion to Scythe. Cool, you get it. Splendor Cities of Splendor, it makes Splendor better. You get it. Scythe Invaders from Afar, Telestrations After Dark. It's Telestrations, but with penises. Haha. Mansions of Magic, 2nd edition. Oh, so I actually rated Mansions of Madness higher earlier, but 2nd edition is the one that I recommend because it has the app implementation. The app implementation is very, very well done, and one of the games that I absolutely want to own one day. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Rings deck building game. Oh my gosh, a 9.1. Yeah, for a while I was really high on Cryptozoic's deck building system. I will say Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings is still a great deck building game. I'd say it's a very great deck building game. Honestly, I haven't played it in a long time, but the second one was garbage. I remember there's one card in the second, the Two Towers Lord of the Rings deck building game that just completely ruined the game for me. Don't remember what it was, but it soured me on this game as well because I was really hoping to mix everything together. DC Comics, so this is once again DC Comics. Wow, the deck building game, the Teen Titans. Yeah, we're just bumping all this down. Because the bottom line is, I have not had the urge to play the DC deck building game, and I have lots of deck building games. It's one of my favorite genres. It does not deserve to be up here in my personal opinion. Good Cop, Bad Cop does. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's a spectacular social deduction game, even though I will say the expansions added length to the time, and I didn't think adding length to the time of the game was the best thing to do, but still, Great little game. Say Anything. I thought we already talked about it. Still one of the games that got me into the hobby. You Stay Here. Corporate America, my favorite 6-player game of all time. One of my favorite games ever. I love the different... Yeah. So this game has a great sense of humor. It's about you running for president. And it's not like political, while it is still very political, but it makes fun of everybody. It makes fun of big business. And it's just... It has really interesting, different negotiations. I love this game. I'll play this game at a drop of a hat, especially if we have 5 or 6 players. Small World... I'm bumping this one down to an 8.8. I still think it's a very great game. I played it on the app just tons and tons of times. Chronicles, oh no! Sorry, Chronicles. Can't do it. Can't do it. This is when I was hot on Chronicles of Crime. Got to bump it down. I still like Chronicles. No, I don't. I would never play it again, unless there was a cool IP to it or someone really wanted to do it. I have a weird relationship with Chronicles of Crime. Moving on. Aeon's End, The Outer Dark. It's an expansion to Aeon's End. Aeon's End Spectacular. Orleans, Trade and Intrigue. Orleans is one of my favorite games of all time. Even though I think this is the one that adds the mean board, I wouldn't recommend playing with the mean board. But everything else here, new events, they're just spectacular. This one actually adds a pick up and deliver aspect to the game, if I recall correctly, which just adds a new way to win the game. And it's great. Love it. Orleans, 9.2, one of my favorite games of all time. Next to Aeon's End, I'd rather play this than Aeon's End. So we're bumping up to 9.3. Give it some love. Aeon's End, one of the best deck builders of all time. It just does things different. Viticulture, one of my favorite games of all time. This is an expansion. Escape the Nightmare. Wow, 9.2. I remember really being blown away by this game. It was done so interesting. And in fact, there's only 2 videos on the internet. A gameplay and then my review. But 9.2. Wow, I can't remember why I loved you so much. I still own you because you're so small, but 9. We got to be fair. Between Two Cities, one of my favorite cooperative games. Well, it's not cooperative. You're essentially working with the player on your left and the player on your left to build us 2 cities. You're going to have a city here, and the one that scores the fewest points is what you score. It's delightful. Check it out. Love it. Viticulture, probably my favorite worker placement game of all time. I love how the theme intertwines with the gameplay. And it's about making wine, and I feel like it does a spectacular job doing it. I'd highly recommend also getting the Tuscany expansion as well. Coup Reformation, that's the expansion to Coup. You get it. It's awesome. Good Cop, Bad Cop. Once again, I already talked about Good Cop, Bad Cop. It is a delightful social deduction game. And fun fact, the only game that I know of that has a Bauer's Best seal actually on the front of the box. Zaya, Legends of a Drift System. Gotta knock this one down a little bit. I haven't played it in years and years and years, but this is an epic space exploration game that does a really cool job. And I remember... I don't think I have the promo. There's like a promo that's like an NPC that I really want, but it's so delightful, and I remember loving it. I don't remember why, which is why I'm knocking it from a 9.2 to a 9. Lords of Waterdeep, yes, it's one of the games that first got into the hobby. It's one of my wife's favorite games, but you need the Scoundrel of Skullport expansion, in my personal opinion, for it to be a 9.2. Without that, I think it gets bumped down a little bit. My First Castle Panic, could have swore we already talked about this. It's still awesome. Rise of Queensdale, this is my favorite legacy game of all time from Ravensburger. Need to check that one out. It is delightful. My Little Scythe. So this is... My Little Scythe, what the heck? Oh, this is my first... Yeah, My Little Scythe, that's right. This is one of my favorite family games of all time, period. Just end of the discussion. They took Scythe, they turned it into a family weight game, and it's excellent. Vegas Wits and Wagers, this is the best way to play Wits and Wagers. It gives you this big... So that's the original one, and then they give you this one now that adds a lot more gambling possibilities on it, and it's great. It is just absolutely delightful. I would keep that game forever. It's one of my favorite gambling games of all time. Between Two Cities Capitals, that's an expansion. Vast of the Crystal Caverns. Gotta bump you down to a 9. This is my game of the year in 2016. It is a truly just asymmetrical game where every single race just plays different. So different that everybody reads their own rule booklet. It can be clunky at times. I wonder if they have an updated rule booklet. If they did, this would jump right back to a 9.3, though. It's a hard one to get to the table. Grimslingers. Once again, this one I was super high on. There's tons and tons and tons of game in here. In fact, now it's a big box. I still love this game, but to be honest with you, I have not played it since I did the review, so that's why we're bumping it down from a 9.3 to a 9. It's still a delightful little game. Codenames. You're going down to a 9 as well, because, what was it? Cross Clues has kind of lost a little bit of the luster for me. Rhino Hero is still spectacular. You know Rhino Hero. It's from Hobbit Games. If you have kids, you should get Rhino Hero. You stack these cards, and it's just delightful. You have like this big building that you're building, and we can actually show you a picture right here. I have something at 140. That's poorly planned. I should really plan my days better. But I can't just quit. I can't be like, yeah, this has been your top 290. I can't do that to you. So, Sheriff of Nottingham, this is one of my favorite games of all time. It still deserves to be up here. I've never played the expansion, which I think would even make it higher, but essentially, this is one where you're trying to smuggle different goods into Nottingham, and then you have to negotiate with the sheriff. It has some of the most fun negotiation forever. Love it. Ultimate Werewolf Extreme Ultimate Edition. I love Werewolf. It's one of my favorite social deduction games of all time. Honestly, this is my third favorite game of all time. So I probably should have it higher, shouldn't I? Because this is like the definitive version of it. The Mind, great little game from Pandasaurus Games where you're trying to predict what number cards are going to go in. And it's just delightful. I've played it probably 100 times. I've played it with my wife. I've played it in my classroom. That was such a fun game in my classroom that the kids actually made their own copy of the game, which is just something I've never seen before. Well, actually, a couple times, which tells me just how good of a game it is. Rhino Hero, the Super Battles. They came out with a big version of this, which added like an extra layer that you could do, and it's really stinking cool. Bigger cards, and yeah, you're just going to get bigger things. There's more cute little meeples, and it's a fun little game. Is it a 9.4 game? No. Bauer's Best Seal, but not quite that high. Dominion, still one of my favorite games of all time. You probably know Dominion, the granddaddy of deck building games. The Crew, Quest for Planet 9. True fun fact, this is one of those games that if anyone ever wants to play this game, I will pick this game. Just period. Does not matter the circumstances. 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. I don't care. It is my favorite trick-taking game of all time and one of my favorite games of all time, period. Scythe, The Rise of Fenris. This was the Legacy S expansion they released for it. It made the game so much better. So many cool secrets, cool pieces. I don't want to talk anything about it and spoil it, but it's delightful. Witch Hunt, a drastically underrated social deduction game that tried to fix a lot of the problems that people had with Werewolf. Did it ever? I don't think this one ever really got much traction, unfortunately, which sucks, but you can still play it at Gen Con every year, and I would highly recommend checking it out. 9.5, that's about right. Ticket to Ride USA 1910, a must-own expansion for Ticket to Ride. Unusual Suspects. Yes, this is one of my favorite party games of all time. It is quite literally profiling the game. So it'd be like, you'd look at these cards, you'd say, the criminal does not send his mother a birthday card. And so now you're trying to eliminate all the people who you think would send their mother a birthday card, and you see where that's going. It's hilarious, but you'll feel bad about yourself as you play it, which is probably why Simon stopped making it. But damn it, it's such a good game. Seven Wonders Duel, one of my favorite 2-player games of all time. It's a spin-off of Seven Wonders. It gives you the same feel, but with a totally different game. It's got like this cool reverse pyramid system. It's spectacular. Can't recommend it enough. Also, the first expansion is great. I haven't played the second one. Ticket to Ride, Holy Grail. It's one of the best games of all time. 9.7. Let's be honest. I think that was, one of the first games I ever played, which is why I put it so high. I'm still going to show it some respect. I think it's a very excellent game, but I'm going to ding it a little bit because I think King of Tokyo is way better than that. I love King of Tokyo. Once again, same thing with, The Crew. I will play King of Tokyo at a drop of a hat, especially when we have a whole bunch of players. One of my favorite elimination games of all time. Pandemic. This was the game that first got me into the hobby. 9.9. I will stick it there. This is my wife's favorite game of all time. Twilight Imperium 4th Edition. Oh my gosh! And then Twilight Imperium 3rd Edition pretty much taking up all these spots because for a while, this was my favorite game of all time. But what we need to do right now, so I don't forget, is put my new favorite game of all time, which is Blood on the Clock Tower, which I will give a 10. It is my favorite social deduction game of all time. I think it's going to blow people away when it finally comes out. It is freaking spectacular. But that has been my top 300 board games of all time. That was a lot lengthier than I thought it was because I was supposed to start a live stream 1 minute ago. But if you enjoyed this list, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. I'm trying to reach 9,000 subscribers this year to celebrate my 9-year anniversary of making YouTube content. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube. Bye-bye.